You're listening to Armchair QB South. Please like and subscribe today. Find us on Facebook and Twitter for live broadcasts and breaking news. Armchair Quarterback South, giving a Southern voice to the world of sports. You're listening to Armchair QB South.
7-0 this season.
Please like and subscribe today.
That's what all the great GMs do. They delegate.
You didn't do anything.
Yeah, I did. I set the cue.
Without fantasy football, what would friends talk about?
I almost wore shorts today.
Oh.
I was going to do a sweatshirt shorts combo. Switched to pants instead.
Armchair.
Saturday mornings, the Armchair Quarterbacks, a Southern tradition like no other. We dive into the Southeastern Conference and the Southern teams in the National Football League. We talk to betting lines, fantasy football. So join us Saturday mornings and get your football weekend started right with the Armchair Quarterbacks, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, right here on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel.
It's important to remember the value of taking time for ourselves to do the things that help us grow and explore, like learning something new. And now with the Great Courses Plus, it's never been easier to experience the joys of learning. The Great Courses Plus offers thousands of streaming videos that cover hundreds of fascinating topics, from World War II to choosing the perfect wine. You can even take a course on the U.S. government or dealing with stress and anxiety. And because the Great Courses Plus partners with world-class professors and experts, you're always receiving thoroughly vetted, high-quality content from every lecture. Plus, you can watch or listen anytime, anywhere with the Great Courses Plus app. So take a little time for you. Sign up for the Great Courses Plus today for a free month of unlimited access. Visit thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio to get started. That's thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio.
Hey, Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Magee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves. We were here for every great moment last October and bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
I think my jersey was one of the top selling jerseys around the world. It was like Kobe, LeBron, and then I was right behind them, and I didn't make a dollar from it, but nor did I want to, because I knew going into college what it was all about. I knew going to my dream school where I wanted to go, the passion for it, and if I could support my team, support my college, support my university, that's what it's all about. But now we're changing it from us, from we, from my university, from being an alumni where I care, which makes college football and college sports special, to then, okay, it's not about us, it's not about we, it's just about me. And yes, I know we live in a selfish culture where it's all about us, but we're just adding and piling onto that, where it changes what's special about college football. We turn it into the NFL, where who has the most money, that's where you go. That's why people are more passionate about college sports than they are about NFL. That's why the stadiums are bigger in college than they are in the NFL, because it's about your team, it's about your university, it's about where my family wanted to go, and you're taking that away so that young kids can earn a dollar. And that's just not where I feel like college football needs to go.
Armchair.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours, hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
Join the Armchair Quarterback Show for its 9th season. And this year, we're doing it all in one show. Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, we'll be talking college football, the SEC, the Big Ten, other big games of the day. We'll be diving into the National Football League, focusing on the Southern football teams and all the big matchups throughout the land, and doing it while covering the point spreads, the over-unders, the prop bets, fantasy football. We'll tell you who to start and who to sit, and everybody's favorite, the stupid underdog picks. And we'll cover Major League Baseball all the way through October and beyond. It's the Armchair Quarterback Show, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, Saturday mornings on Armchair Quarterback's YouTube channel. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. Please like and subscribe today, youtube.com, Armchair Quarterback South. Saturday mornings and Wednesday evenings, along with pop-up shows and our sister station, youtube.com, at Braves Country.
CBS Sports Radio. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The college football action gets rolling this morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, ESPN2. Navy hosts number 20 UCF. Noon Eastern, ABC. The number 3 Michigan Wolverines, a 17.5-point favorite against 7-3 Illinois. Number 8 Alabama at noon on ESPN Plus. They host Austin Peay. There is no line. Number 19 Florida State. They're a 24-point favorite at home over under 52. Noon kickoff on ESPN Plus. At 2 o'clock Eastern, Kansas State, number 15 in the land. They go to West Virginia, giving up 8 over under 54.5. At 2:30 on Peacock, Boston College is at number 18 Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish a 20.5-point favorite. And at 3:30 on CBS, the SEC game of the day, number 1 Georgia at 6-4 Kentucky. The Bulldogs 22.5-point favorite over the Wildcats. Also at 3:30, Ohio State, number 2, a 27-point favorite at Maryland, who is 6-4 and 3-4 in the Big Ten. The Miami Hurricanes, 19-point underdogs at number 9 Clemson. That game is on ESPN at 3:30. On ESPN2, 5:30 Eastern, number 13 North Carolina with an outside chance to get into the playoffs. They are 9-1 in the land, 21.5-point favorites at home against the Yellow Jackets. The number 5 Tennessee Volunteers, 9-1, go on the road, take on the Cabooses of South Carolina. The Vols are giving up 22. 7:30 Eastern on ABC, number 22 Oklahoma State at Oklahoma. The Sooners are 5-5 this year, but a 7-point favorite at home against the Cowpokes. Number 7 USC is at number 16 UCLA, 8 o'clock Eastern on Fox. Trojans are 2-point favorites. In other games, TCU, number 4 in the country at noon on Fox. They're a 2-point favorite at Baylor. Oregon State, number 23 in the country, 7-point favorites at Arizona State. Penn State, number 11, the 19-point favorite at Rutgers, 3:30 Big Ten Network, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus. Number 24 NC State at 6-4 Louisville. The line is 4. Cardinals are the favorites. Number 25 Cincinnati is a 17-point favorite on the road in Temple. 51 is the over/under. Ole Miss, number 14, 8-2 on the year. They go to Arkansas and giving up 2. Washington, fresh off their win against Oregon, number 17 in the country. They're a 30.5 favorite at home against Colorado. Late tonight, Utah, number 10 in the country. They are a 2-point favorite at number 12, Oregon. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Rum and Cokes?
Do you have any idea how important this is? We're trying to save the pub boat. Really? This is what you're doing? This is what you're doing? Do you know what's going to happen if...
Hyperbole is done. Now we can finally play the game.
We are live in Tallahassee, the capital of the great state of Florida.
That's Desmond Howard going in motion on 2nd down and 5 for Michigan, playing on real grass at Michigan Stadium. Threw it to the sideline. It is intercepted. Florida State was sitting and waiting.
Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Oh, he's going to win the football game. But the Bears are out on the field. There were plays all over the place. The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heartrending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football.
In trouble in the backfield, wants to throw down. He's going to go deep. And I mean deep. And I mean touchdown. Miracle finish. A Hail Mary that's full of grace, full of gator.
Barkley trying to bounce it.
And does escape. Barkley in the clear. Barkley. Oh, 79.
It's a 31-30 game. And what does Nebraska do?
I've not seen the kicker come on the field, and I don't think he's coming on the field. Tom Osborne made this decision a long time ago. He's decided to go for 2 and take a shot at winning. I commend him for it.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
Here come the Seminoles of Florida State. It's a battle for flagging rights and recruiting advantages in the state of Florida as the Gators come calling. And Chief Osceola ready to get it started. Really flush. Throws it down. Caught by Boston College. I don't believe it.
Today, we've got number 1 Seminoles against number 2 Hurricanes.
Good morning. How are you, Doug?
Good. I can't see you, but good morning to you.
Yeah, I am. Give me 1 second. I am adjusting some stuff here, so give me 1 second. This thing is taking forever. How was your week?
I was busy, but not too bad. Not too bad at all.
What are your thoughts on some of the MLB trades that have been made?
Predictable overall. I figured they re-signed Rizzo up in New York.
Rizzo!
Sure, but Rizzo getting his 2-year, $54 million contract. That's not too surprising. Most of them have been pretty much standard what we thought they would do.
Yeah, I see that. So just so folks know, let me get this thing straight here. I am coming on. Had some issues with the, well, it's a long story nobody cares about. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterbacks Kickoff Show. We are going to be going all the way to noon Eastern. We've got some big news as well, and I'll get to here in 1 second. There have been some rumors out there that Kenley Jansen could be heading to the San Francisco Giants, which I think would be incredibly interesting because he would be facing the Giants several times a year in the Dodgers division.
Mm-hmm.
I know there were some Braves fans out there that were complaining about this, but Kenley Jansen's not coming back to Atlanta. That's just not going to happen.
No, I didn't think he would.
He's been replaced by Raisel Iglesias from the trade at the trading deadline. They're paying him $16 million this year, I think. So, and he's under contract for the next few years. So he, for all intents and purposes, they're looking at as being the Braves closer. And if you're going to try and sign Dansby Swanson or maybe a starting pitcher, you can't pay two relievers that amount, especially when both of them are viewed as closers. And I don't think either one of them really want to take that back seat for this upcoming year. Iglesias was really cool coming over, being the setup man, trying to make a run into the playoffs. But going forward, there's just no way in hell that's going to happen.
Yep.
Couple other things that are going on in Major League Baseball, and then we're going to dive right into football. Another big Saturday in football. What I'm calling is upset alert Saturday. We haven't had many upsets in college football, and the alerts are going to be out because you don't have a lot of big matchups, but you have some teams that could fall. Number one on the book for me would be USC having to play UCLA, their crosstown rival. It should be a fun game. That's the game I'm going to watch tonight. I think that should be a lot of fun. And if you are not a fan of either one of those teams, but you're a fan of a team that wants to get in the playoffs, you are a UCLA fan today. The big announcement that we have going on here is that we are going back to full-time radio beginning next Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Will be a Monday through Friday show at that same time, 3 Eastern, 5 Eastern. Now, the good news is you'll still be able to watch us on YouTube, listen to us on YouTube. If you don't live in the radio station's area, they also have a website, but Honest Engine, it's probably better if you just follow us on YouTube, because first of all, I think you get more out of the show because we're going to try to do some things, with the visual that being on YouTube. And then if you're just wanting to listen, the sound quality is the same. But that most of those shows will be on Braves Country. That is the name of the new show. It's Braves Country, and that is because the radio station is in the Atlanta, Georgia market, and I wanted to use a name that would go well with that market, but it's still going to be our same type of armchair quarterback show where we're going to be talking a lot of football, a lot of baseball, etc., and obviously whatever's trending at the time. So we look forward to that. And like I said, 3 to 5 drive time for a lot of people. It's a good slot, and we're looking forward to WQEE, the key. For all intents and purposes, it's Atlanta, Georgia, but it's actually Noonan, which is just southwest. And they do a lot of sports talk, and they're going to be covering the SEC championship game. They'll be broadcasting that along with a few other championship games that day. So championship Saturday, our show will be 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, because that's going to lead right into the SEC championship coverage. And hopefully Doug can find a way to be with us on that day. I haven't had a chance to get to everybody because a lot of things happen really fast, and we're trying to get some stuff organized. But we're looking forward to see Doug on the Daily Show. I think you said that you might be able to stop in once a week. I'll get those times straightened out. I'm still trying to figure out the schedule and everything, but we look forward to that. We were going to start on Monday after Thanksgiving, and then when I realized the timing of it, I was like, you know what, we really need to hit the ground running, because next Friday being Black Friday, a lot of people are going to be off. And it also happens to be leading up to Florida State, Florida. So I wanted to make sure that we got a show going on that. Of course, in that area, you got Georgia Tech, and a lot of other ball games. So a lot of college football, a lot of NFL football, and a lot of baseball talk as always. And of course, we do our basketball talk when it's deemed necessary, as they say. All right, Doug. The Rizzo thing, one thing to keep an eye on that folks may be slipping through, not paying attention. One of the reasons why a lot of folks think that this means Aaron Judge is coming back, is because he and Rizzo evidently have become really good friends. So take that with what it's worth. Yankees wanting to re-sign a very good first baseman, but also might swing the balance of power as far as, do you want to go play with your bestie? But I still think the San Francisco Giants are a player in this. What say you?
Oh, I agree with you about the Giants. I mean, the Giants have probably got the biggest war chest and probably the biggest, I guess you could say, hanging fruit for him to come over. But I just got this feeling. I guess I'm a little bit in that camp. You signed Rizzo. I've already heard a rumor. I was reading late last night, and they've reiterated this morning that supposedly right now, as we speak, there's another offer on the table for him. The Yankees have put another offer, a higher offer. They didn't give exact numbers, but supposedly right now they're mulling over it with him, probably why we're talking, because this is about 45 minutes ago that they were talking about it. It came up again. So I think this is the Yankees.
I got to figure that kind of stuff's going to go back and forth. And I know we all, I know we all try to read the tea leaves. And it's because of this time of year, especially if you're a baseball fan, I'm not saying you're bored, but you're like, man, come on, let's go. Let's see something. And I really wish they would change their free agency market rules. I think it would be beneficial to everybody involved, but the CBA is never going to agree to it. So we're stuck where we are. Yeah. But simple fact of the matter is no one feels pushed to the limit to get any of these deals done until January. And that's the unfortunate part of this.
And unfortunately, this free agency season, everything is tied into what they're going to do with Judge. Other teams, I don't think, are going to make moves until they see where Judge goes, because other teams are going to make their moves dependent on where Judge ends up. What kind of money did he get? Did he go to the Giants? Did he did this? Did it? So we're all going to have to sit here and wait till Judge either ends up in San Francisco or ends up staying in New York. And everybody else isn't going to really move until that happens, unfortunately. This free agency is a stack of dominoes, and it all starts with Judge's domino. So unfortunately, I think it's going to be a lot of watching and waiting and speculation till then.
Yeah, I think you're going to get we'll go ahead and put a pin in this, but I think you're going to get a lot of nothing going on for the next week, because typically when you go into the holidays, Thanksgiving holidays, everybody just kind of puts everything on the back burner. Now, what you start the next marker, if you're a baseball fan, you're wanting to know when the hell are we going to start seeing some things move? And there have been minor things happen. You had some minor things happen yesterday. The Dodgers non-tender Cody Bellinger, not really a shock to me. I still think they're going to try to re-sign him, but he was going to be due like $19 million if they had tendered him. And simple fact of the matter is the guy's not good enough. And oh man, I saw some clown website that said that they thought that he would be a good landing spot for Cody Bellinger would be the Braves. And I'm like, oh my God. Are we going to get this with every damn free agent? Yeah. Makes absolute.
That doesn't even. Okay.
I mean,
I don't have a response.
It really doesn't. It makes no sense. Where the hell does he fit? Because he typically plays first base or center field. We got one guy locked up for 9 years, and we got another guy locked up for 7 or 8 years that just won the Rookie of the Year. That's not happening. He's not going to right field, and you're not spending that much money on a left fielder when you still have guys like Marcell Ozuna on the damn payroll. Now, I will say this, if you're a Braves fan, their president came out, it was like yesterday or the day before, he was in an interview, and he said he fully expects to be in the top 5 of payrolls this year. And he said, we've got the money, and we plan to use it. So that's the good news. Bad news is Dansby Swanson's still not signed. All right, let's move on. College football. We got some good matchups. I know this may not be one of these Saturdays that everybody is that fired up for, but you got to realize, y'all, next week is rivalry weekend. So because it's college football, this isn't the NFL, because it's college football, you're going to set yourself up with a weaker opponent the week before rivalry weekend. The only way to get around that is to do half the rivalries this weekend and you play a Bobo next weekend and then vice versa. That is the only way to get around it. Now we do get a good rivalry game this weekend. We get USC UCLA, and that to me is the game of the day. That is that 7:30 or 8 o'clock? I think it's 7:30 Eastern. It's the ABC, or is it the Fox game of the week? I'm trying to locate it. Here we go. 8 o'clock Fox. There we go. 8 o'clock Fox. Yeah. That's the game of the day. Number 7 USC, and if they win out, I think there's a very good chance that they get in the playoffs.
Yes.
Now there's some caveats to that. They would need to win out, and they're going to need a little bit of help, because if TCU wins out, and TCU has a tough matchup today, this is not an easy game for TCU. If you're looking for an early game, if I'm building my college football Saturday, this is what I'm doing, guys. If you're saying, man, I only want to watch one game per block, give me one game, Mac, and let's go. At noon Eastern, I'm going to go with here it is. It's on Fox, number 4 TCU at Baylor. TCU is a 2-point favorite on the road. Baylor's a tough team. I do think TCU gets the W. That's a very tough matchup. At 3:30, as we welcome Tones on to the show. Tones, how the hell are you, sir?
Great to be with you, gentlemen, as always. We got a late November college football Saturday on our hands today. We all know what that means. The importance is there. The gambling aspect is there. MLB Hot Stove is here. We got a lot of fantastic stuff to go over today, gentlemen. I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. The 3:30 is kind of the dud of the week, to be honest with you, of the slate, which is really, really sad. And they got to do a better job of mapping these out. But if I'm going to give you one 3:30 game, it's Penn State Rutgers. No, I'm joking. Had to give Tones a bone right there. If I've got one 3:30 game, I'm going to hope that TCU Baylor goes into 8 overtimes. It drags me in. If there's one mid-afternoon game that you're going to go into, I think I'm going to look, if I have to just pay attention to one, because I really think Clemson is going to beat the brakes off of Miami. Miami, yeah, they got the win last week, but my God, Georgia Tech's bad. The one game that I say, hey, puncher's chance, Kentucky plays Georgia tough. They just do in Kentucky. I don't think there's any shot in hell that they're going to win. But what are you going to do? Are you going to go to Maryland to Ohio State? I do think that line's a little big, 27 points. But Ohio State is like a machine. Georgia is a machine. The problem with thinking Georgia is going to fall, not only are they ridiculously talented, but Georgia also has Georgia Tech next week. So that's not a look-ahead game, right? That's not a look-ahead game.
Yeah, exactly. Georgia Tech, they've looked
hey, Mike, good morning. Good to see you. Do what?
Their record has been what it's indicated this year. Georgia Tech, they had a couple game hot streak there, but besides that, they've been really bad.
Michael and Brian, good to see y'all chiming in on our YouTube feed. Real quick, for folks that might have missed the announcement, starting next Friday, we are going to be a daily afternoon show, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, and you'll be able to get it on YouTube. We're going to daily radio, but we will be able to get it on YouTube. I'm going to put the other station in the other YouTube channel in the chat, just in case folks don't know where to find it, because we'll most likely be on that most days, because the name of the show is Braves Country. with the Armchair Quarterbacks. But essentially it's Braves, because we're going to be live in Georgia. So we're trying to get folks to us, and then they'll understand what the Armchair Quarterbacks are all about. But I had to think long and hard about whether or not we should go with Armchair Quarterbacks in Braves Country or Braves Country by the Armchair Quarterbacks. And because the other Braves Country station already has a lot of followers, I think it's a better branding. So that's what we're going to do. We're still going to do shows on this. So you want to like both channels. We're going to build this station, this channel, slowly but surely. I've got some plans for it, for, football play-by-play and all that kind of stuff. Got to get with Tones, because I know we've talked about doing some games. But yeah, we're looking forward to the new show next Friday, 3 to 5. There will not be a Saturday morning show because we're changing over 3 to 5, and we are planning on Championship Saturday. It's going to be a weird time, 2 p.m. Eastern to 3:30 p.m. Eastern, leading into the SEC Championship game, which is going to be carried on WQEE, just south of Atlanta, Georgia. All right, back to the games. If I'm going to pick one 3:30 game, I'm going to keep an eye on Kentucky, but I'm not real excited about it. Honestly, the best mid-afternoon game is probably Kansas State, West Virginia, but it's 2:00. It's on ESPN Plus, and it's kind of a weird start. Right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of those games where it draws you in a little bit, but the weird time, the weird start, it's like, come on now.
Yeah. But I guess the only good thing about it is that if it ends up being a good game and you can get that game where you're at, it's something that game probably won't end until about fourth quarter of the late games. And at that point, you could flip over and see what game's worth watching at this point. But I really think it's kind of a dead time, that mid-afternoon. So, get your honey-do list done. That's what you do. You look at your wife or girlfriend around 3:30 Eastern, go, let's go do something. Let's go for a walk, really throw her off and go, wow.
I'm going Christmas shopping with mine today for that reason.
There you go. And then, and then you start going, hey, we got to get back.
Oh, I already identified the time slot where we got to dismiss the mall. So we're all in accordance with that.
And then tonight's game, the one I've got circled is USC, UCLA, 8 p.m. on Fox. I am going to keep an eye on that Oklahoma State, Oklahoma game. I think it's interesting that OK State is a 7-point underdog in Norman.
Mm-hmm.
For folks that haven't followed Oklahoma this year, and you're like, man, really? The reason why I even followed them is because they're 5-5. Terrible first year for the head coach that came over from Clemson, Venerable. They lost last week. We were just talking about West Virginia. They lost to West Virginia. So that to me is how you want to plan your football Saturday. If there's 3 games, that's it. And like I said, you got some good NFL matchups, and we'll get into NFL talk here in a little bit. By the way, we're missing someone. Is everything okay with Mr. Joey?
Let's try and find that out, right?
Okay. I didn't know if some toothless hooker stole his wallet again in St. Louis or wherever the hell he was.
I'm trying to I'll give an update if I get one from the big guy, but for now haven't heard too much.
Tell him to chew his arm off and get the hell out of there. All right. Anyways, there's no telling with Joey. Moving on from that, hell, you know what? Let's go ahead and hit the stupid underdog picks. Stupid underdog picks. By the way, Bobby has come out swinging, Doug. He has got a 14-point lead on you now.
Holy crap.
50 points. We have no shot in hell of catching him. Doug does. 50 points. 36 for Doug, 15 for Tones. A couple of seasons ago, I had a similar season where I scored well over 50. Other than that, it's pretty rare to get this many. If folks don't know the rules to the stupid underdog pick, it's real simple. You pick an underdog to win outright. If that underdog wins outright, you then get those points that they were underdogs by. So, for instance, first game on the board that I see is Navy Central Florida. If you took Navy as your stupid underdog and they pulled off the W, you would get 15.5 points. If they cover, you get 2. If they do not cover the spread, you lose 2. And then we keep up with it all year. This used to just be a college football one, but now we carry it all the way through the NFL season as well. All right, Doug, because you're the only one with a real chance of beating Doug, catching Bobby, I'm going to let you start going first because we got to give you a chance. There's no sense in me and Tones grabbing, 12-point games, 10-point games, etc. He and I are going to be swinging for the fence at this point.
Correct.
What you got?
Well, I am going to go ahead. My stupid pick is going to be Oklahoma over Oklahoma State and take the points, 7.5.
So you're going to take the Oklahoma State. Let me refresh my board, make sure what the line is right now. Thought I saw 7.
Yeah, it's 7.5.
On ESPN. No, ESPN's got it at 7. So
okay.
We always go by ESPN because it's just easier. I know there's a lot of evils about ESPN, but it's easier because everyone can find the website. So, and they are connected to Caesar Sportsbook, so it just makes it easier. All right, so you're going to take Oklahoma State. I like it. I think it's got a very good chance to win. In fact, I took that line as one of my lines that I'm, I've always got a ridiculous amount of games that I've put way too much money on. I haven't filled up my entire box yet, but here's the beginning of my line. There's all kinds of I've been on a heater, by the way. Last weekend plus 300 for the weekend, so that was pretty damn good.
Hell yeah.
And I've already started off the week well. I took the Titans and I had already taken Washington on a 2-team teaser, so I already hit the ground running. And I got a really goofy one that I'll get into later. But the first leg of a ridiculous parlay hit last night. I took South Florida plus 15.5, and they did cover. They lost 48-42 for folks that missed that game last night. But a meaningless game against Tulsa, but I wanted to have something to pay attention to. And I'm glad I did because Florida State's basketball team collapsed against the Gators. They were up by 17 at the half. I look over 3 or 4 minutes into the damn second half. They had already lost the lead. I was like, well, this is the worst basketball team I've seen Florida State put out there in years. And I was just surprised they were beating Florida. I was like, I guess they just had, because they tend to beat Florida. I was like, I guess they just got a damn hold on them. And then Florida finally woke up and realized this isn't the same FSU team. They're getting some guys back about midseason, but by then it's going to be too late. But the Lady Seminoles, they are headed to the Sweet 16 in the college soccer cup. So congrats to them. I watched a little bit of that last night, knocking out the LSU Tigers.
A lot of soccer stuff going on right now, huh?
A lot of soccer stuff. Tones, I'm going to go ahead and give you the second game because why the hell not?
Looking at this one, I mean, I need miracles now, but some of these games, like, taking New Mexico State at 28.5 just isn't worth it to me. So I'm going to take my shot at the last game on the board tonight. Max always loving this. Hawaii gets going at 10:30 Eastern time on CBS Sports Network. That one is. They're home against UNLV. Hawaii is getting 11 points. Far travel for UNLV. I know they're more West Coast, but that still ain't around the corner. Hawaii's 2 wins have came in the past 5 or 6 weeks. So hoping that they carry something over. They barely lost to Utah State last week, and hoping they could upset the Fighting UNLV Rebels at home this week.
Hey, I'm just glad that you picked an actual conference and a game that's well, never mind. I thought it was actually televised, but I guess it's not.
It's on no, I was incorrect. It's not on CBS Sports Network. Actually, this one is untelevised. So, yep, that was Fresno State, Nevada on CBS Sports Net. I got it wrong. This one is not on it.
Revolution in Hawaii will not be televised.
Yeah, only televised like week 1. I feel like when they play at midnight, and you lost a couple dollars.
Yeah, but here's the thing: there's got to be cameras out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be broadcasters at least doing the radio game.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you put a few cameras up out there and put it on ESPN Plus?
Correct. Or like FS2 or whatever the heck that is. Put it on something. You're going to have your degenerates like myself that'll tune in.
I guess my point is random, like women's soccer games are on ESPN Plus.
Correct.
You can't put Hawaii. Look, I have no dog in the hunt. I'm not going to watch it. I'll be asleep well before that game gets done. I'm not staying up. But my point is, you're a UNLV or Hawaii fan. You're displaced and you're living, wherever, or a graduate. Maybe not be a big fan, but you're a graduate. What the hell does it hurt? Fresno State, Nevada is being carried by CBS Sports Network 10:30 tonight, and Utah, Oregon 10:30 on ESPN. The only thing I could see possibly from that would be ESPN not wanting to compete against themselves. I see FS1 has a 9:45 game of San Jose, Utah State, but I mean, what the hell would it hurt to put on ESPN Plus? Because anyone who's like into Utah, Oregon, they're not going to get dissuaded by UNLV, Hawaii's getting close. Maybe I should flip over. Nobody's going to watch that crap. But it's dumbfounds me. It's very rare that you see a game not televised nowadays.
Yeah, and that, like you said, that's a game where it's a second TV or third TV game or a commercial game. ESPN would have been fine having it on one of their streaming services. They only got like 100 ESPN Plus channels nowadays, it feels like.
All right, I'm going to swing for the fence here. I'm taking the Maryland Terrapins plus 27. And they are at home against Ohio State. And the reason why I'm taking that is because I'm down by a boat ton, and I need this to just even get within sniffing territory of Bobby and Doug. So the standing right now, by the way, Bobby 50, Doug 36, and then there's a huge drop-off. I'm sitting at 15. Tones is at 9.5. Joey 3.5. Trosh at -1. And Sean finally up in the black. He's at 3.5. He called the UConn upset last week. So
that was a good one. They actually fought hard all game and they beat Liberty, and they looked impressive. Jim Mora's got them fighting over there, fighting harder than Nebraska. Poor Mike, our Nebraska guy, says no bowl appearance for the Huskers again.
Yeah. That Nebraska-Michigan game, that was another one I swung for the fence. I took Nebraska last week. The good news is, though, so I'd bought a point, and long story short, they covered. The line at kickoff was 30.5. And I bought a point to make it 31.5. They lost by 31 points. So I covered by half point last week on that game.
And that's the best when you self-manipulate and that stuff happens. You feel really good.
Yeah, look, the experienced bettors will tell you don't do it. When you do that, what you're doing is you're hurting your overall margin. I get that, but man, I'm not like an addicted gambler where this is my livelihood. And if I have a chance to, if it makes sense like that, I'm going to pay a little extra to be able to cover the spread.
I did it with USF last night. I mean, it didn't come down to it, but they were getting 14. I bumped them up to 14.5. They ended up only losing by 6, so I covered easily. But that half point could mean the whole difference in the world sometimes.
Speaking of Nebraska, they're at home to Wisconsin today. And that, look, if I had a shot at it, that's a game I would have circled. Nebraska at home getting 10 points. Wisconsin's one of those teams that, yeah, if they've got the right matchup, they can maul you, but they can also get stuck in the mire and their offense not put up any points. And then at that point, it can turn into a turnover battle. Plus, it's 30 degrees in Lincoln right now. So funnier things have happened. That's a noon kickoff, ESPN, and that's a game that I'm going to have circled because I do have it on my slate. I took the over in that game. the over under in that game was low. It's 40.5, and it's a part of a teaser that I did. Long story short, I do have the over in that game. But anyways, that man, that has really gone up because my over is 30.
Wow.
And I only bought 7 points. I think it was a 7-point teaser. So that line has really gone up. Nebraska, Wisconsin over 30. And then to finish it off, I've got Illinois plus. I got this earlier in the week too, and they were a much bigger underdog. Illinois, I've got a plus 26 line on. So
that and you like to hear that in a Big Ten matchup.
I've been doing a lot of teasers lately, and I like them. For people who aren't familiar with it, a teaser just means that you grab 2 or more teams. So it's kind of like a parlay, but you get points added to it. It's just at a lesser rate. So you do a 3-team parlay, it's usually like 5-1 odds if it hits, right?
Correct.
But if you do a 3-team parlay with the teaser, it's usually about 1-1 odds, somewhere in that territory. It really depends on how many points that you choose, but that's where that is at. I just think 30 points is really low, and that's why I grabbed it.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to grab it. If it's 30 points, you could back your way into that couple pick sixes or couple fumbles, set you up in good territory on punt returns or kick returns. That almost bodes well and screams take it.
I mean, even a boring 21-14 type of score for college football, that still covers.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a fairly competitive game, and both teams can probably put up 15 apiece. So.
Yeah, last night I kind of did that, but with the San Diego State against New Mexico game, over/under was sitting at 35. I was all over that. It hit by almost halftime. Sometimes when it's that low, you roll the dice and go, we'll see.
Here are some of my favorite teases today. If anyone wants to pay attention, maybe jot a couple down. I put Maryland and Kentucky on a teaser. They're 2 teams that are at home and they're big underdogs. Why not? I took Wake Forest and UCLA on a teaser because UCLA is getting points at home, but I wanted to push it up a little bit. So in Wake, they are on the road. No, I'm sorry. They're at home. But they're giving up 10 against Syracuse. I didn't want to give up that many points, so that's why I teased. But Wake and UCLA, I've got them on a teaser. I've got Kansas and Oklahoma State on a teaser. Doug took Oklahoma State, and I just think, I mean, I'm a little surprised that they're underdogs, and I'm very surprised that they're a touchdown underdog.
Well, and it's been at fault due to Oklahoma's inconsistent quarterback play, Dylan Gabriel, why their record is what it is and why they're hemming and hawing as favorites or underdogs. And it really is all dependent on how he plays, the former UCF quarterback for them. So if he plays well, they seem to be a really good team. If they play bad, they are what their record indicates.
Absolutely. What was that, Doug?
Oh no, I was just agreeing. I was absolutely agreeing with him on that. Yep, it's going to come down to that quarterback, the way he plays. I'm just gambling that he'll play well.
And another one. Now, if you want to hear my goofy pick, my goofy parlay, the one that's not going to hit, but I said, what the hell? I think it's got a puncher's chance of happening. So I took South Florida plus the 15.5 last night, and they covered these. Then I took MTSU on the money line, and they are a 6-point underdog. I don't have it in front of me. I think they were plus 180, somewhere in that neighborhood on the money line. They're at home against Florida Atlantic. Both teams are 5-5, and it's a conference game. It's in Middle Tennessee. It's gonna be in the mid to low 40s in Middle Tennessee today. Florida Atlantic may not be that enthused. So that was kind of my thought process there. Then if you go over to the Big 12 at home, Kansas is a 9-point underdog, and I really like that just as a point spread. But Kansas is a 9-point underdog at home against Texas, who's coming off that physical game against TCU. Well, I took Kansas to just pull off the upset. Why the hell not? Right.
Yeah, and that money line for MTSU looks like it's at plus 185 right now.
Okay. I think I grabbed it at 180, and then Kansas, I don't remember what, like I said, all I have is what I did. I don't write down all that junk because I try to keep it on one piece of paper that I can keep an eye on it all day long. But Kansas had to be in the 240-ish range, plus 240.
Let's see right now as I go in here. Kansas money line for today sits at plus 260 at the very moment.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was around 250, 260, something like that. And then Oklahoma State, if you've got that in front of you, that's my final one.
Yeah, Oklahoma State. Let's
Texas
see here.
and Kansas, that's at 330. MTSU is at 330. If all of those, if those two hit for some strange reason, and I go into the 7:30 game, right, with just needing Oklahoma State to win, I'm gonna hedge my bet. I'm gonna because I lay like $5 to win 281, right? So if all that hits, I'm gonna hedge my bet and put like $100 on Oklahoma on the money line.
Yeah, and Oklahoma State money line, by the way, sits at plus 235 right now. Oklahoma minus 292.
Yeah, it was like $5 or $6 to win like 275.
Poof, that's awesome, man. You love to hear that.
Like I said, only the first part has hit. We'll see how it goes from there. But that's kind of where I'm at. We need to take a break. Doug, doesn't look like Joey's joined us. You want to stick around for a while, or you got to get going?
No, I'll stick around for a little bit.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and take that break. When we come back, going to get into some college football lines, talk a little NFL, and how Doug's terrible Las Vegas Raiders could lose to Jeff Saturday. See how I set you up there, Doug? We'll be back in a flash.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The college football action gets rolling this morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, ESPN2. Navy hosts number 20 UCF. Noon Eastern, ABC. The number 3 Michigan Wolverines, a 17.5-point favorite against 7-3 Illinois. Number 8 Alabama at noon on ESPN Plus. They host Austin Peay. There is no line. Number 19 Florida State. They're a 24-point favorite at home over under 52. Noon kickoff on ESPN Plus. At 2 o'clock Eastern, Kansas State, number 15 in the land, they go to West Virginia, giving up 8 over under 54.5. At 2:30 on Peacock, Boston College is at number 18 Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish, a 20.5-point favorite. And at 3:30 on CBS, the SEC game of the day, number 1 Georgia at 6-4 Kentucky. The Bulldogs, 22.5-point favorite over the Wildcats. Also at 3:30, Ohio State, number 2, a 27-point favorite at Maryland, who is 6-4 and 3-4 in the Big Ten. The Miami Hurricanes, 19-point underdogs at number 9 Clemson. That game is on ESPN at 3:30. On ESPN2, 5:30 Eastern, number 13 North Carolina with an outside chance to get into the playoffs. They are 9-1 in the land, 21.5-point favorites at home against the Yellow Jackets. The number 5 Tennessee Volunteers, 9-1, go on the road, take on the Cabooses of South Carolina. The Vols are giving up 22. 7:30 Eastern on ABC. Number 22 Oklahoma State at Oklahoma. The Sooners are 5-5 this year, but a 7-point favorite at home against the Cowpokes. Number 7 USC is at number 16 UCLA, 8 o'clock Eastern on Fox. Trojans are 2-point favorites. In other games, TCU, number 4 in the country at noon on Fox, they're a 2-point favorite at Baylor. Oregon State, number 23 in the country, 7-point favorites at Arizona State. Penn State, number 11, the 19-point favorite at Rutgers, 3:30 Big Ten Network, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus. Number 24 NC State at 6-4 Louisville. The line is 4. Cardinals are the favorites. Number 25 Cincinnati is a 17-point favorite on the road in Temple. 51 is the over/under. Ole Miss, number 14, 8-2 on the year. They go to Arkansas and giving up 2. Washington, fresh off their win against Oregon, number 17 in the country, they're a 30.5 favorite at home against Colorado. Late tonight, Utah, number 10 in the country, they are a 2-point favorite at number 12, Oregon. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast.
I can't believe you're a professional golfer. I think you should be working at the snack bar.
You better relax, Bob.
There is no way that you could have been as bad at hockey as you are at golf.
All right, let's go. Oh! You like that, old man? You want a piece of me?
I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing. Oh!
Now you're gonna get it, Bobby.
The price is wrong, bitch.
I think you've had enough. No? Now you've had enough, bitch.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
The Armchair Quarterback, he's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The All-American man. Yeah, the Armchair Quarterback, he's kind of fun, he's kind of bad.
Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks Kickoff Show. Mac Magee, Tones Areola, and Doug Southesburg. Doug, Red Raider Doug, as we like to call him. He's got his Reds gear on today. Conveniently does not have his Raiders gear on today. Because
I do technically. I'm just hiding it in the back.
Oh,
I'm letting it blend in
okay.
the
That's
back.
okay. Okay, I stand corrected. But with all that being said, man, how the hell did they lose that game?
Oh, let me count the ways how they lost that game.
Colts are terrible.
Oh no, you just got a new genius coach leading the Colts is what you got. Excuse me. Let me start. You're not going to win a football game when your starting quarterback misses 17 open players. Derek Carr is just absolutely a dumpster fire. We all sat here and we watched him boo-hoo-hoo-hoo after a game about players. Oh, we play every week, we practice every week, and all that junk. Derek Carr is junk, and I've been a big supporter and defender here over the years, but not anymore. He's a big reason they lost, and the defense too. It's junk, except for Matt Crosby. They're junk. A lot of Raiders and Raider Nation talking about. Well, I don't understand why we're losing. He's next year. Derek Carr will not be the starting quarterback for the Raiders.
No, I'm saying, are they going to fire the coach?
No, because because you got to think with Mark Davis. First of all, he's still on the snide to Gruden for another $50 million of that contract, or for about $40 million. We've estimated. We don't know what the exact numbers are for Josh McLoser. But you figure
Josh loser.
You figure he's on the snide for at least another $50 million. So he's got $100 million in coaches. He's not going to get rid of this one. They could probably pay for, if he wants to go get somebody like a Sean Payton or a Brian Flores. No, he'd be broke paying for all these coaches. So Mark Davis has pretty much stated it's McDaniels for the next 3 years. So no, you're not getting rid of him. They've said that, and he's a package deal with that GM as well. So I don't see him. It's going to be just 3 long years. He's going to gut this team. Like I said, the Raiders are not going to recognize this team next year because Carr will be gone. Darren Waller will be gone. I even predict Hunter Renfrow. All these guys they signed up, they're going to trade them in the offseason. They're all going to be gone.
Brian's already drunk this morning, talking about a Miami upset. First of all, I don't think the Dolphins play today. Because I know you're not talking about do you. They are gonna get the brakes beat off them in Clemson. Clemson is gonna. Oh my God! What is the over under in that game? I wonder.
I will pull it up in a sec.
I got it.
The
over under in that game is 47.5. Clemson is a 19-point favorite. So that tells you that they think Clemson's going to win somewhere in the neighborhood of 35-17 ish.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a tad lower than that, maybe 33-15. I'm gonna have to pull up the over on that because I would be willing to take whatever the hell the Clemson defense is supposed to give up on Miami. I would take the under because Clemson may not be one of the best Clemson teams in recent memory, but their defense is still really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 3:30 kickoff. Miami had any shot in hell of pulling off the upset. It would have been an early kickoff to just kind of sneak in and get out of town.
I mean, Miami's just garbage too. You look at them and yeah, they beat a bad Georgia Tech team last week, but before that they got absolutely trounced by FSU and Duke, sandwich in between a win over not that great of a Virginia football program, by the way. Hearts go out to all those affected in that situation. But Miami's wins this year have been against some of the worst teams. I mean, Southern Mississippi, then you get some team that's not even bowl eligible. Then you get Virginia Tech, Virginia, and Georgia Tech. That's Miami's 5 wins this year, all against really bad football programs to this point.
I don't know why, but the site that I'm on does not have the Miami Clemson game on the sites. There might have been some heavy money that came in on one side or the other because that's the only time they ever pull it off.
Well, you did say Brian was drinking already, so maybe he's the one who put in that big wager in Miami's favor.
I don't know. That's strange. It's really strange that they don't have it on the board.
That is unique.
I never see that on game day. Like usually by game day, they figured it all out.
Or, maybe a big injury happened last minute or something, so they pulled it for now and they're going to put it back maybe.
It's usually one or the other. It's usually some sharp money came in on one side or the other, or there's an injury concern. But good morning, Tony. Good to see you chiming in. Once again, we're going to make this announcement a few times, but we are going to Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. And I need to go ahead and put that secondary YouTube channel in the chat. But we are going to be going there beginning next Friday. Florida State, Florida play next Friday. And we'll be 3 to 5 p.m. And then after that, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. on WQEE, The Key, in the Atlanta, Georgia radio market.
Yeah, and I seen a good friend Mike from Nebraska, Puckhead, a guy like him. He's asked, "Hey, how do I make sure I catch you guys every day? Because I love listening to you guys." You could go to Braves Country Baseball YouTube, turn the notification bell on, subscribe, and you'll get notified every time we go live over there. You'll be getting an update. So just in case you forget, a guy like me, sometimes you're busy doing stuff. Boom, turn the notification bell on. You'll get a nice little notification ring on your phone, and every time Mac and the show goes live, it'll be great.
So I just put it in there, new daily show. I just put the secondary station on there. Now we're going to be on WQEE, the Key, and they also have a website that you can listen to their stream. But honestly, it's probably a lot easier just to do what Tone's just told you. But yeah, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, and all the guys are going to be on there with me. We're going to rotate in and out like we always do. You know, I always say that we got the deepest bench in a sports talk, and we're gonna prove it.
I'm ready to prove that. And Brian says it's cold in Jacksonville. What's cold for y'all over there in Jacksonville right now? At least we got some Armchair Quarterbacks radio weekdays to warm us up.
Preface that with saying that Brian is from South Florida, but to his defense, it is cold for Jacksonville for sure. It is. Let me pull up the actual. Man, the one time. Usually, when I go onto this site, it automatically takes me to the Jacksonville forecast, and today it took me to the national forecast, which is what I'm usually looking for. Today, right now, it is 52 degrees. So not cold, but cold for Brian. He's from sissy South Florida, where if it gets below 70, they got to throw parkas on.
Yeah, my buddy who moved out there, anytime it gets below 70 now, he has a hoodie on. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, so not cold, but cold for Brian. So but it was cold enough last night where I actually wore clothes when I went to sleep, meaning like an actual overshirt. And I actually had to keep my socks on, man. My damn twosies were freezing, man. I was like, God bless.
Hey, the wind was howling. It was about a little under 20 here last night after the wind chill. I feel you guys completely. It's that time of year here in Chicago.
Freezing in the mornings because it doesn't matter what I do. Me and my wife have joked about this, about me getting a damn sleeping bag. No matter what the hell I do, I wake up in the morning and all my damn, the covers, I have thrown them on the floor. Because we had to go to separate covers years ago because she would rip them from me, and then I would rip them from her, and then she'd get really pissed because I rip them from her and I wouldn't use them. Every morning I look down and there my damn covers are on the floor. I just like, well, it is what it is. I'll just be chattering, just freezing. I'm like, but I can't keep them on me. I don't know what it is. If I get them on me, the moment I get comfortable, within 3 seconds of being comfortable, I am absolutely miserable and I throw them off.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 52 degrees and supposed to get pretty cool tonight. Overnights, it's going to be in the same area, low 50s. But you got to realize, Florida folks, that's cold.
Yeah.
Just like we laugh at northern folks when they go, man, it's hot up here. It's in the 90s. And we're like, 90s? Man, it's called springtime. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So back to the college football. You got some interesting slates. You got some interesting lines. One of the ones, since it's on my mind because Tony has stopped in, Florida is at Vanderbilt. Florida giving up 14. Now, in years past, the Gators have struggled in Nashville. I don't think that's going to be the case today. Vanderbilt's bad. They are bad. They looked like they could have something going on beginning of the season, and then they have turned into what we expect Vanderbilt to do.
Yeah, and I feel like
They did pull off the win at Kentucky last week. I think Kentucky might have been looking ahead to Georgia. But I mean, they lose 55-0 to the Bulldogs. They've had a couple of interesting games, but like 55-3 to Bama. They lose by 24 to Ole Miss. I just don't think this is going to be a very competitive game. If I was to bet one way or the other in this game, I think I would go with the over. The over is 57.5, and I think Florida's going to be able to score at will. And then Vanderbilt will score some points on the Florida defense, but it won't be enough to keep up. I mean, I'm saying 42-21 type of game for the Gators. You know, you could have Florida looking ahead a little bit. First time I've been able to say this in a long time. Florida could have a look ahead to Florida State. We're actually a threat to somebody. But I don't think it's enough to get their dander up. I just think I kind of expect Richardson to have a big game, and I think the Florida defense will slow him down enough. In other words, I think Florida will score 2 out of every 3 possessions kind of thing, and Vanderbilt will only be able to score like 1 out of every 3 possessions, and that eventually builds up over 4 quarters.
Yeah, and the Commodores, Vanderbilt, they're one of those teams that, you know, they're in the SEC and they always play the year or start the year against these 1Z, 2Z teams. So they start the year 2 or 3-0. And you're thinking, is this the year that Vanderbilt turns it around? Nope. Before too long, it's the same old Vanderbilt. I love that over today, and I love Florida to cover. I think that win against Kentucky last week was smoke and mirrors. Kentucky hasn't been all as advertised this year themselves as well. So I think Florida gets this one today, and I like the over as well.
Doug, do you like anything in this game other than maybe like a ham sandwich during that time period?
You know, while you're talking, all I was thinking about is what I was going to put on that ham sandwich, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't see it being, you know, I don't know. I'm really excited for that Florida State-Florida game. I think that's going to be a great game. And for the first time in a long time, it's going to be – I can't say it means something because it's not like either one of us are going to the playoffs, but it's going to mean something next week. And I'm really looking forward to that. I'm glad we get it in Hassey because I think that's going to be the deciding factor. I don't know if we could win in the Swamp this year. We're not quite there yet, but being at home, familiarity with the crowd and stuff, and it's a night game, and it's exactly where I said it should have been years ago. We're playing at the Friday on Black Friday, the night before or the day before the Iron Bowl and the game, as they call Ohio State, Michigan. It's not getting overshadowed this year. It's going to be the game. Now, the problem is next year, the NFL's coming into the fold, and they're going to have an Amazon game on Black Friday.
Mm-hmm.
There's been discussion on whether or not that's going to be a day game or a night game, but regardless, I hope wherever they decide to go, I hope Florida State and Florida are smart enough to pivot and play at a different time slot. That's not going to matter for us diehard fans. We're going to watch Florida State, Florida over any NFL game that they put on at that time. Mm-hmm. But you put it on that Black Friday to help with recruiting on both sides. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, and I love the rivalry week in college football. That's the one advantage college football does have over the NFL, in my opinion, clearly to viewership, is that rivalry week. There's nothing quite like it in the NFL besides the last week of the year where you get all divisional games. But, it'll be interesting to see what time slot the NFL lands in, because a lot of people, even me, an NFL guy who prefers it 99% of the time to college, on that day, I'm not so sure that's going to be the case on rivalry week.
I was going to say one rivalry. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Doug.
No, it's just one rivalry we haven't talked about for next week is, and it's one of the oldest rivalries in college football, is USC and Notre Dame. Will Notre Dame play a spoiler for USC? I'm just throwing that out there.
I'm just going to throw this out here to USC, UCLA fans. They need to play their game every damn year on this weekend. And on the weekend on the years where Notre Dame and Southern Cal finish the season off, because I know it goes back and forth. If it's in California, they play it on the final weekend. If it's in Notre Dame, they play it in mid-October. And why Notre Dame fans don't at me, I know it's because that the fact of the matter remains that Notre Dame won't play, or I'm sorry, Southern Cal won't play in Notre Dame in November. I get that.
Yeah.
But on the years that you don't play each other, on the years that Southern Cal is on the road at Notre Dame, UCLA and USC should still play on this weekend because they are going to get all their eyeballs on it tonight.
And this is huge for USC. They could beat a ranked UCLA team, then they get Notre Dame next week, then they get the conference championship potentially. These 3 games dictate USC's path to the playoffs. If USC ends the year with wins over UCLA, Notre Dame, and the conference championship, it will be hard to hold them out unless everything falls into place perfect for the rest of the squads.
Notre Dame, by the way, I'm gonna have to give them credit where credit's due. They've really turned their season around. You know, they were there was a standpoint there where Notre Dame at the beginning of the year where they were dropping. I mean, the Ohio State game was a hard fought loss, but when they lost to Marshall, it was like, uh-oh. And then they lost to Stanford. We didn't really talk about that the next day. They lost to Stanford. But outside of that, they have really saved their season. They've got some impressive wins. Syracuse at the time was ranked. They beat Syracuse in Syracuse convincingly. They dominated Clemson in a game that I think absolutely eliminated Clemson from playoff contention. I don't care what anyone says. It doesn't matter what Clemson does now. Clemson's not getting in the playoffs because of that loss. You can't lose to Notre Dame by 21 and think that you're in the playoffs. I mean, you would have to get every SEC team with like 3 losses. There's not enough games left on the schedule. So Notre Dame has really turned it around. And that first year coach, I thought maybe the spotlight was too big for him, but he's really turned it around for him.
Yeah, Marcus Freeman's given him everything they've had over there, and he's been an example of, hey, slow start, but give him some time, and he's proved well to this point, obviously only in year 1, so a lot could happen. But he's done pretty well so far for the Fighting Irish.
And one thing that win against Clemson did is it helped Notre Dame with its recruiting class. Because they've got about 3 or 4 top recruits that were at that game who were on the line who they were going to commit to. And 2 of them have gone ahead and committed to Bowen has committed, and I don't remember the other gentleman's name, but 2 of them went ahead and committed to Notre Dame. One was thinking of committing to Clemson, but after that loss, Bowen went ahead and committed to Notre Dame. So that game helped them for today and helped them for the future as well.
Speaking of recruiting, and thankfully we're going to have a daily show to talk about this now, but I'm really going to be interesting to see if down the road, what kind of effect this Miami season is going to have on their recruiting class, because they were going to have a pretty good recruiting class. They've already lost some guys, but I'll be interesting to see if some of these other big time recruits that are supposed to be coming to Miami, if they're still going to come, because I think they're going to lose a lot of kids.
Yeah, I can't see a lot of them sticking around. I mean, they moved to 4th in the pecking order in the state of Florida in college football. I'd put UCF in front of them even. So, a lot of kids don't even stay in the state of Florida in that neck of the woods, and now they're not even playing that well. I think they're going to lose recruits for sure.
Just put all the details up in the chat. New daily show 3 to 5 p.m. starting next week, Black Friday, and then it'll be Monday through Friday, going on the following week. And hopefully folks will be excited as excited as we are for it, because it's a pretty good step in the right direction. The guy that had the slot before us has gone on, and he is now working for Georgia Tech doing, I think, basketball and baseball, but it might be just one or the other. And he also does their local, I guess they've got a Major League Soccer team there in Atlanta, and he covers them.
Brian's pleading with Tony right now to meet up for Florida State next weekend.
That's no way in hell is that happening.
Oh my Lord.
Why would you want to watch Florida State, Florida with a damn Hurricane fan?
And not only that, he has a baby. He has to babysit as well next Friday.
Yeah, great. Sign me up. Football season is the loneliest time of year for Hurricane fans.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be around you. Like, ugh.
I cannot believe they were ranked 5th coming into the year.
Miami?
Yeah, they should not in football. They were ranked 5 or 6 coming into the season.
Were they really ranked that high?
Yep, and to me, that's why I always make the argument until you're 2 or 3 weeks into the year, you might not even have rankings because it's a little ridiculous.
Well, in Miami's defense, no one expected Tua to play this well and Tyreek Hill to really gel. That's the only team I can think of in Miami that should be ranked 5 or 6. Maybe the Heat, but definitely not the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I don't know how they got ranked that high.
They really need to change that moniker to the tropical depressions because it really works on a lot of levels because the fan base is depressed. Their fans think it's cold if it dips below 70. Tropical depressions. Let's make it a thing.
And the Marlins, well, they're the Marlins. I mean, they got good young pitching, but other than that, oof.
Yeah, they got Alcantara, and that's about it.
The Marlins pulled off a pretty good trade yesterday. They traded Eliza Hernandez to the Mets for one of their better prospects, and now they're also sending a bullpen guy. But
yeah,
a lot of interdivision trades. It's been, I feel like, this offseason. Nothing too crazy, but
not yet. But like Doug and I were talking about at the beginning, the season really gets going in about the free agent market season really gets going after Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Doug, we're about that time. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
Oh, my walk-off for this week. I alluded to it earlier. I was just going to say the NFL is going to be in a bad way probably coming rest of the season and in the off season because federal courts have ruled with Gruden's lawsuit can go ahead. And the NFL can't arbitrate this lawsuit since they're the principal in it. So they're going to go to court. And you're going to watch Gruden dish out a lot of dirt about things going on behind the scenes in the NFL with that lawsuit. So kind of you're going to see a lot of black marks about the NFL publicly within the next 6, as this lawsuit will probably go on and start in January. So NFL better watch out. It's going to take a black eye in the next coming year.
I still think the NFL's made of Teflon. They're just some fans will get ticked off and quit watching, but most fans, because of gambling and fantasy football, really don't care about the the ins and outs. All they care about is give me football. All right, Doug, we will see you next time. We're going to take a really quick break to reset. We'll be back in about 60 seconds. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Hey, sports fans. The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Magee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Magee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., right here on WQEE, The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. You're listening to Armchair QB South. Please like and subscribe today. Find us on Facebook and Twitter, Armchair Quarterback South, giving a Southern voice to the world of sports. Welcome back, Armchair Quarterbacks. New days and times. Next Friday, Black Friday, we kick it all off 3 to 5 Eastern on Armchair QB South sister station, Braves Country, and we have dropped it in the chat. I'll do it again here periodically for the rest of the show. Joining us is Mr. Gator fan himself, Bobby. Bobby, how the hell are you, Mr. Bobby Schneider?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing well. One more game until the big one.
Yep. Looking forward to it. Friday night.
And I'm looking forward to that. Are you going to be able to be here next Friday?
Yes. Yeah, I will.
Cool.
I got some stuff going on earlier in the day, but I have some time freed up during that time, so I'll be on.
Awesome. I'll double check with everyone, what times y'all are going to be here, but I'm looking forward to, the kickoff of the show, but then also we're going to be rolling right into that game. So the show's 3 to 5 and the game kicks off at 7:30. I think, I believe it's ESPN this year. It would definitely be an ABC affiliate because it's in Hassie. So we don't have to worry about CBS stealing it or something.
Man, that's going to be a tough one for me. You guys have had me pulling for Florida and Florida State all season now.
Real easy. You never pull for Florida, and that's all you need to know. You're the Antichrist.
Coming into the year, I would have easily said Florida State because I like their history
more.
Like
the Gators or the Ohio State Buckeyes, and maybe that can free it up for you a little bit.
Hey, that does free it up, but Anthony Richardson's been my dude this year. He's won me some coin time to time, so it's a tough one. I'm excited for a fun game though. And
as a Penn State fan, who is your most hated rival?
I mean, it's gonna sound piggyback because it's obviously not their biggest rival, but I would say Ohio State for us.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure because I'm sitting going through my mind. I was like, well, it used to be Pitt, but
right.
Don't play anymore, which is an absolute travesty in college football. Penn State needs to come back.
It needs to, and I mean that's an in-state rivalry. Only a 2-hour drive separates these teams. Obviously, the two biggest schools in Pennsylvania. Penn obviously isn't too relevant in the football or sports things. So Penn State's kind of looking for that big rivalry to attach on to. Them and Ohio State have a cute one, but Ohio State is Michigan. Penn State needs that partner in crime for rivalry right now. They just don't have it.
By the way, that game is going to be on ABC next Friday night, so even a bigger stage, which is really, really cool for Florida State and Florida. Should help them both in the whole recruiting aspect and whatnot. Another big game that'll be next week. Now we'll be coming on just that game's ending. Tulane, Cincinnati. That's going to decide a lot in the American. But other games that day, next Friday. See, on actual Friday, UCLA, California. NC State, North Carolina. That's a fun one. That'll be going on during our show. But that's just really just a rivalry type of game. It would be much better if NC State was healthy, but I don't think they will be.
Not that it's a huge one, but do you know when the war on I-4 between USF and UCF is next week?
Next Saturday, but they do not give a time yet. They don't have to give the times out until tomorrow. There's only a few games that are in stone. Georgia Tech is noon on ESPN. Ohio State, Michigan is noon on Fox. That's obviously the game that everyone's going to be watching. They have not given us a time yet for Penn State, Michigan State. They haven't given a time on the Iron Bowl, but I still would tend to think it's going to be the 3:30 CBS game of the day. I don't care what the records are. It's a lot of eyeballs go to that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to get superseded by Tennessee Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Tennessee Vandy. It's
Notre Dame Southern Cal. That is a 7:30 Eastern ABC kickoff night game. If USC wins tonight, that game will be enormous.
Mm-hmm.
And UCLA's got the path to impress the voters because they're going to play UCLA, Notre Dame, and then most likely Oregon in the Pac-12 championship.
And
they have a case.
Yeah, they have a really, really big case. If they do a clean sweep, that they have a tough argument against them.
I think Tennessee's a better team, but if USC runs the table, I don't see a reality where they don't get in. I mean, they have too good of a resume at that point.
I agree with you completely. I think Tennessee's a better team and they have the best play, even though Caleb Williams is great. I think Hooker's playing at another level right now. But if USC has that resume where their final three are crunched the numbers against a team like UCLA, who's been proven that they could beat big time opponents this year, against a team like Notre Dame, who's really turned the corner, and then that conference championship win, college football committee is going to have a lot of questions and very little answers, in my opinion. Whenever they make their top four, they try and just put it out there, put their heads down and turn the corner. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it slices out this year. I'll tell you what, I'm really hoping for TCU to run the table. I really want them to get in and throw a wrench into things. I'm always rooting for that underdog story, so to speak, because even if they don't have the best chance at winning, I just love the college football playoff committee having a head in a swirl and not knowing what to do exactly.
By the way, another thing is going to be going on next Friday, World Cup USA versus England.
Wow.
The show kicks off.
Holy crap.
That should be a lot of fun. A lot of folks are on the fence on whether or not they want to watch it, mainly because of all the human rights issues that's over in the host country of Qatar. But I still think I'll probably end up watching the U.S. team.
I think so. It's one of those monumental sports events.
It's the IOC's fault, and that's really the issue. But did you see this? Yesterday or the day before, they have came out and did an about-face change and have banned alcohol sales at the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that's terrible. You can't tell the people traveling from all over the world, hey, we're going to do this. And the next thing you know, these people get there. So you have them trapped in, you have them sucked in, and then you change the rules. That's Bush League. And, a lot of these people, Qatar had to rent out cruise ships to use as hotels because their town just isn't big enough. So these people are already staying on things like cruise ships and all these other oddities. Now they get slapped in the face without booze at these events. Just interesting stuff when you're paying boatload of money.
Here's the kicker. You know who's a $75 million sponsor for the World Cup and is pissed? Budweiser.
I heard that.
Yeah.
So
they got screwed.
What the hell? And evidently, and they've already sent it over there. There is just buckets and buckets of beer. Where the hell does that go?
Mm-hmm.
For real. I mean, where is that all going to go? I'd be interested. Could the cruise ship still serve alcohol? Could the hotels? What's going to happen?
I don't know.
I really think too, I mean, this may throw a wrench in future World Cups and, potential bidders and markets for them. Because to me, if you're a fan, you go to games. I'm not the biggest drinker, but when I go to a sporting event, I want to have a beer or two just because it's part of the shenanigans going on in front of me. A lot of fans aren't going to get to experience that. Shame on the World Cup or Qatar, whoever's more at fault here for the shenanigans behind this one.
By the way, folks have been wondering how to pronounce it. It is Qatar. It is not Qatar, as I hear some people say. I don't know why the hell that guy, I was watching Boomer and Geo yesterday, and they kept calling it Qatar, and they've convinced themselves it's Qatar. It's not Qatar, it's Qatar.
And I know it's Qatar for a fact because, interestingly enough, we just had a coworker. He just left the company about 4 or 5 months ago, but he actually moved here from Qatar a couple years back. So his name was Bahar from Qatar, so it rhymed. It was all well, and actually now, ironic enough, that's where the World Cup is. So thanks, Bahar from Qatar. It was awesome. Very easy to remember his name.
That would so be my Twitter handle, man. Oh man. Back to the games of this week before we get to look ahead to the fun weekend of next week. By the way, South Carolina Clemson noon kickoff next Saturday. So I mean, man, I cannot wait till next week.
Yeah, the Mississippi game on Thanksgiving night's always fun too. Mike Leach and the boys head to Ole Miss. That'll be a good one.
Are they doing that? Yeah, they are. It's ESPN. You remember a few years ago they weren't doing it, and then they brought it back.
Yeah, I think the COVID year they canned
it. So glad they did that, because I know a lot of people want to watch the NFL, but man, I like the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving night.
I love that game.
That's one of my favorite games. I typically pull for Mississippi State, and how do you not pull for Mike Leach now? But regardless, you get Leach and Kiffin going back and forth.
Fun football.
They need to do a game though where they just mic up the two of them. You can hear them both. just hell, have it where they can even talk to each other, talking smack, everything.
Just have them sit next to each other at that point. Have other people call the coaching duties.
They are national treasures that a lot of people don't even realize.
Oh yeah, Mike Leach. I don't know if you guys seen it real quick, but a couple weeks back, he gave like a former Tampa reporter's wife marriage advice on why she should get eloped over spending all this money on a marriage. This is mid-game interview too. The man is just awesome.
Yeah, he's and he's in a perfect spot because he's in Mississippi State. They don't expect the moon and stars, but he keeps them relevant from like just a standpoint of, that's now I know the shine will eventually wear off, and if he's not winning, things will change. But as of right now, I think he's in a perfect spot. And if I'm him, I stay there as long as I possibly can.
You got mid.
Tonight, we've got Tennessee Volunteers at South Carolina. 22.5-point dogs are the Gamecocks. Anyone giving the Cabooses a fighting chance in hell of winning this game?
Nope. Tennessee's got to be absolutely dominant for the rest of the year. They can't let any game be close. I don't see how this is even a contest.
Over under 66.5. Do they get that tonight? I think they do.
I sound like a broken record at this point, but Bobby, before you give your over/under, I just can't bet on Spencer Rattler at this point. Totally lost faith in him.
Yeah. Well, with the line being minus 22.5 for Tennessee, I don't see South Carolina, if they're predicting Tennessee to win by 22, 23, I don't see South Carolina scoring enough points to get that over. I don't think it hits, honestly.
I think I might have said IOC, but yes, Tony, it is FIFA. I don't know why the hell I said IOC. Hell, they're both crooked. I'm still blaming the IOC for what FIFA
did. Oh man.
I just figure Tennessee's going to score early and often in this game. I don't know if I would lay the 22, but I wouldn't be scared to. I'm probably steering clear of it. I'm more likely to jump on the over.
Yeah, I don't touch lines that big or spreads that big, but I think Tennessee probably does cover. If I had to bet, I would say they do.
Another interesting game. I've got a few teams on upset alert, and this is one of them. And I don't think they will, but there's a chance there that a 7-3 Illinois team could go in and put a scare into Michigan. Now, the problem with Illinois is they just don't have the offensive firepower. So everything's got to go right for Illinois to pull this off.
Meaning
Michigan's got to turn the ball over, either in deep in their own territory, or they keep stubbing their toe as they're about to score and flipping the field.
The thing that hinders U of I too, they lost, or he's banged up now, one of their better players last week, Chase Brown. He will play today on a pitch count though. But he's going to be a little limited somewhat. He's been early in the season, he was a dark horse for Heisman, not so much at U of I, falling off a little bit anymore. But interesting to see how long Chase Brown is able to hang in this one for U of I. Right now, they say he's a go today. We'll see how much plays he's able to play.
I would I took Illinois on a tease, but I wouldn't be scared to take them plus the 17.5. Mainly because Michigan doesn't tend to just roll up the points. They play a very conservative offense. They knew who they are. They have a defense they can lean on, and they're going to make sure that you can't beat them. But, man, I'm telling you, that game has got my eye. There's another game that I think could be on upset alert as well. And when I say, look, there's a lot of teams that could get upset today, but I'm more referring to teams that are in the mix. And that, of course, is the TCU game. They're on the road in Baylor. Weird time, 2:00 kickoff. 2.5-point favorites. I do believe TCU is a much better team, but Baylor is a feisty team that could find their way on the right side of the score at the end.
It feels like TCU is due for that loss. I hate to say it because I'm rooting for them hard. I want to see them, Tones, like you. I want to see them in the playoffs, but it just feels like they're going to blow it. I just get that gut feeling. I hope they don't, though. We'll be pulling for them today, but we'll have to see.
And I completely see where you guys are coming from, but man, I felt that for the past 3 or 4 weeks now. I was like, all right, TCU's going to lose to Kansas State. It was, all right, TCU's going to lose to Oklahoma State. All right, West Virginia's got them on the ropes. Texas Tech's playing good. Oh, they're at Texas. It's like every week I feel like the same story, and you could easily write that chapter again this week at a tough Baylor team on the road. I get where you guys are coming from, but I've had that attitude against TCU the past couple weeks. Now I'm going with the Horned Frogs today. I think Dugan has been throwing the ball really well, and I don't.
TCU they are the New York Giants and New York Jets of college football. Nobody believes in them, but they keep trucking along, and they're heading towards something.
Just well coached, really well coached.
Well, the one thing that doesn't slump is defense, and they play great defense. That team is.
Well, I thought Texas would be putting up points last week. They got shut down.
Yeah, wasn't the final 17-10 or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
They didn't score an offensive touchdown.
Sheesh.
That was a scoop and score. I watched that game because I took TCU on the money line and made me a little hay, but I couldn't believe that game. It was so dumb that game was even that close.
Navy put up more against Notre Dame last week than Texas did against TCU, huh?
TCU probably should have won that game somewhere like 24-27-3. It was that combination. People keep valuing Texas, and once again, they're on the road after a tough game against Kansas. I think the Jayhawks have a good chance to pull off that upset.
I agree with that, and the Jayhawks are very more acclimated with their quarterback, who's getting more and more experience week to week. So I like the Jayhawks today to cover in that one.
Georgia, Kentucky, that's the 3:30 CBS SEC game of the week. I haven't seen what the weather's like up there, but if the weather could play a factor, Kentucky. The only problem about Kentucky is, and they've had some games where they've looked good, but then they've had games where like they get the doors blown off against Tennessee. Georgia plays a little slower pace than what Tennessee does. So I think Kentucky has a better chance in that, but I just don't know if Kentucky can win the line of scrimmage enough to be able to keep Georgia out of the end zone. But I've said that in years past, and Kentucky has pulled off some scares against Georgia.
And a couple weeks ago, this matchup is one of those matchups that it's still going to be a good game, I think, but this was one of those must-see matchups just a couple weeks ago. It's lost some of its steam a little bit with Kentucky dropping 3 out of their last 5 and 2 out of their last 3. But this is a huge game for Will Levis. How's he going to look out there? A lot of scouts are looking at all these other great quarterbacks making plays right now, like a Stroud, like a Young, like a Hooker, even Anthony Richardson. A Will Levis really needs to step up today and play really well against a tough Georgia team. I see him right now as one of those guys who's still a first-round pick, but he's teetering his draft stock right now. He needs to start playing better down the stretch.
I've been wrong in the past on on some of these college quarterbacks, but I'm not impressed with Levis.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of Levis, I don't know why I keep seeing him in top 3, top 5 of these mock drafts. It's just ridiculous. He's not that much of a talent, and I don't know what they're seeing. Maybe they see some potential in him that I don't, but from what I've watched from him, it's just not impressive. And he's not. I don't think he's a very good quarterback.
He's going to have to be a combine star.
Yeah.
To get drafted high.
Well, I feel like it's a situation where, the draft experts, it's like a quarterback that they have rising. Like they had Malik Willis going early in the draft last year and all the mock drafts, going 3rd round. And that's not a knock on Willis. It's just, I think they try and have a quarterback that they generate a bunch of hype around, and the scouts don't really see it.
They had Sam Howell going really high at 1.2. They start with some of these guys, and next thing you know, I'm sure another guy will emerge. I bet you Levis will be quarterback 6 by the time it's all said and done. I think it'll go the top 2, Stroud and Young, and then I think that'll follow with Hooker and Richardson. Then I think there will be that emergence between now and the combine. There always is that one guy where everyone just is like, holy crap, this kid has all the tools. Then I think a Levis will come. I just don't think he's that good. Like you guys have said, from watching him, it has not been good.
I'm interested to see if Richardson comes back. I'm not so sure he'll leave just yet. I mean, I want the best for him, but I don't think he's, quite all the way there. There's still some really bad games in there.
I agree.
On his schedule this year.
It just depends how the hype is.
And if he's going to be projected in the first couple of rounds, he's going.
Yeah, he should. I agree. But if he's not getting the idea that he's going high, then
because he's mobile. Because he's a mobile quarterback, he is going to get drafted higher than he would have years ago.
Yeah, that's fair.
So everyone's looking for the next Jalen Hurts is what they're doing, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think Richardson has all the tools to be a great quarterback. It's just there's some games that I've seen this year that were just terrible. And when he's playing good, he's like the best player on the field. There's no doubt about that. When he's playing good, he's great. But he's very inconsistent, and he needs to polish that up.
I think the best quarterback in college football, he's not coming out this year. Look for him next year, though. Drake May, North Carolina. This kid is incredible. Every week he plays better and better. And I think when he stays in North Carolina next year, they're going to be a true threat to a New Year's Day bowl game. They are this year with how good they're playing. Next year, they could be playoff contenders. This kid's special. Watch Drake May if you're not familiar with him these final couple weeks and in their bowl game.
It's going to be fun to see where May and Williams end up falling next year in the draft.
Absolutely.
I'll be looking forward to that.
How old is May? I mean, he looks like the younger brother of Bobby.
I think he's a true freshman.
I was like, that bastard's never shaved.
Yeah, I want to say he's a true freshman out there, but yeah, he does look like Bobby's younger brother. And, nothing against it. Bobby looks like he's aging well, Bobby is, but Drake May's aging a little better. I'll put it like that. Drake May is he is 20 years old. I thought he was even younger than that. He looks like
horse crap. That guy's 20
a few months on me.
Herbert still looks young.
Yeah.
When you look at Justin Herbert on the sideline, it's like that guy looks like he's 18 still belonging in college bars, but he's out there, and nothing against Herbert, but I think he's a great quarterback, but I think he gets a little too much love, but that's far.
I'm with you on that.
Between.
I think he gets more excuses than any other quarterback. I'll say that.
Right. Like, I mean, you look at, not saying he's been playing great this year, but you look at a guy like Kyler Murray and he gets hit hard left and right. And, Herbert's play hasn't been all too much better than Kyler's this year. And, I know Herbert's wide receivers have been hurt, but so have Kyler's. They've been suspended or injured as well. So the double standard on some of those younger quarterbacks is a little puzzling.
Tones, I'm just counting down the days till we get a new coach.
Yeah, Cliff
Just counting
Kingsbury
it
to me, I got him on the way out. One of those guys who just in overs had a little bit.
What is your lock on the walk-off for the day? We're coming up on it.
Gentlemen, wow, it's already been an hour and a half. That's why I love this stuff. It goes by so fast, and you're talking sports with the best in the biz, like Bobby, Doug, and Mac, and Sean as well. But I don't really get to talk with Sean much nowadays. But Shawnee's always a good time. I'm sticking with Monday Night Football for my locks. I'm going with the Cardinals getting 8 points. I think it's another one of those division games. Last week, we seen Washington getting 11. I thought that was way too much. This week, we see Arizona at home getting 8. It could bump up a little bit if McCoy's officially starting to 9 or 10, perhaps. But I think this is way too much. The spread seems like Arizona's a 2 or 3 win team right now. So I don't really agree with that spread, and I'll look to capitalize off that and reap the benefits by taking Arizona with a little bit of cheddar. I've been doing decent lately. That Ryan Tannehill over in passing was very easy on Thursday night. So I like the Monday night spread with Arizona. And my one big thing to look for in walk-off, in the middle of everything tonight, I hope it's not his last fight, but my man, the Beast, Derek Lewis, is main eventing in UFC tonight. A lot of back and forth with the Russian fighter right now in Sergey Spivak. Lewis has had his fun talking crap with him, and it's USA versus Russia fight night tonight. It's got that big fight feel to it. Derek Lewis against Sergey Spivak, UFC. Not technically tonight. It's 3:00, so or a little later than that. The times are screwed up. I think it'll come on 6 or 7. But if you're a fight night guy, be on the lookout for Derek Lewis and his potential last fight ever tonight in the UFC. He's been one of the best heavyweights of all time and has treated us to many great times. I know Bobby will be looking forward to that. And no hockey talk, but go Bolts. I'll throw that in to get some NHL talk in there. I can't wait till Black Friday show, gentlemen.
All right, brother. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to talk some NFL and get Sean's take on his Michigan Wolverines. We'll be back in a flash.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Your college football action gets rolling this morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, ESPN2. Navy hosts number 20 UCF. Noon Eastern, ABC. The number 3 Michigan Wolverines, a 17.5-point favorite against 7-3 Illinois. Number 8 Alabama at noon on ESPN Plus. They host Austin Peay. There is no line. Number 19 Florida State. They're a 24-point favorite at home over under 52. Noon kickoff on ESPN Plus. At 2:00 Eastern, Kansas State, number 15 in the land, they go to West Virginia, giving up 8 over under 54.5. 2:30 on Peacock, Boston College is at number 18 Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish a 20.5-point favorite. And at 3:30 on CBS, the SEC game of the day, number 1 Georgia at 6-4 Kentucky. The Bulldogs, 22.5-point favorite over the Wildcats. Also at 3:30, Ohio State, number 2, a 27-point favorite at Maryland, who is 6-4 and 3-4 in the Big Ten. The Miami Hurricanes, 19-point underdogs at number 9 Clemson. That game is on ESPN at 3:30. On ESPN2, 5:30 Eastern, number 13 North Carolina with an outside chance to get into the playoffs. They are 9-1 in the land, 21.5-point favorites at home against the Yellow Jackets. The number 5 Tennessee Volunteers, 9-1, go on the road, take on the Cabooses of South Carolina. The Vols are giving up 22. 7:30 Eastern on ABC, number 22 Oklahoma State at Oklahoma. The Sooners are 5-5 this year, but a 7-point favorite at home against the Cowpokes. Number 7 USC is at number 16 UCLA, 8:00 Eastern on Fox. Trojans are 2-point favorites. In other games, TCU, number 4 in the country, at noon on Fox. They're a 2-point favorite at Baylor. Oregon State, number 23 in the country, 7-point favorites at Arizona State. Penn State, number 11, the 19-point favorite at Rutgers, 3:30 Big Ten Network, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus. Number 24 NC State at 6-4 Louisville. The line is 4. Cardinals are the favorites. Number 25 Cincinnati is a 17-point favorite on the road in Temple. 51 is the over/under. Ole Miss, number 14, 8-2 on the year. They go to Arkansas and giving up 2. Washington, fresh off their win against Oregon, number 17 in the country. They're a 30.5 favorite at home against Colorado. Late tonight, Utah, number 10 in the country. They are a 2-point favorite at number 12, Oregon. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast. Hey, sports fans, The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Magee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Magee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE, The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country.
I don't want no teenage queen. I don't want no teenage queen. I just want my M14. I just want my M14. If I die in the combat zone. If I die in the combat zone. Lock me up and ship me home. Lock me up and ship me home. Pin my medals upon my chest. Pin my medals upon my chest. Tell my mom I done my best. Tell my mom I done my best.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Welcome back. Get this off of here. It's a little too many things on at one time. Welcoming on to the show is Mr. Sean O'Toole and Stephen Troche as we thank our veterans on this Veterans Day weekend. Sean, how are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. MTSU's home finale, senior day, big Michigan game. I got a action-packed day of things to handle today. So good day.
Are you going to the game?
I am going to the MTSU game. Yeah, it's senior day today against Willie Ball. Good old Willie Taggart and FAU. So
yeah, baby, let's go. Stephen Troche, how the hell are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I finally got into my new house. I don't have to worry about the Hurricanes being competitive today since they're facing Clemson. It's going to be a great day. I just get to relax.
Man, you are echoey. Are you in a garage or something?
No, new office.
Oh, okay. You might want to put some carpet or something going on there, man. It's bad. Yeah. Are you even going to try to watch the Miami game?
I'll have it on in the background doing work, but
yeah, I was in that same place a few years ago, so I know exactly how it is. You're like, not going to not watch it, but gun to my head, I'll probably have other things going on.
Yeah.
Real quick, Sean, are you worried at all about Illinois coming into me?
Yes. I'm worried about everybody. I mean, I was worried about Maryland and Rutgers, for crying out loud. Bielema's definitely got something cooking with that program. They've got a lot more defensive talent than they've had in a long time, especially in the secondary. The concern is they don't have a lot going on offense, and Michigan's defense has been playing really well. So I would not take Michigan to cover. but I'm not worried about them losing, if that makes sense. I 10 to 14 points probably I think is reasonable. I forgot what it was. Was it higher than that? I saw it as high as 17 early in the week.
17.5 is the line right now.
Yeah, I don't love that. I don't love that at all. Just because Illinois has done a really good job stopping people from running all over them, and that's kind of Michigan's bread and butter. We'll see.
All right, well, let's go ahead and dive into the world of the National Football League and fantasy football as we do this. Real quick programming note, no show next Saturday because we're going to be on Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. And, with it being Thanksgiving weekend, I didn't want to double up on shows. So we're going to be 3 to 5. I'm not sure how many of you guys are going to be able to make it, but I know we do have some that will be here. Hopefully everyone can join, and we'll be kicking off the college football. To me, next weekend, the NFL takes a backseat. It just does. There's too many rivalry games, too many big games, but this weekend, I think the NFL goes to the front seat because the college games, you've got to be worried about some upsets here and there, especially if one of your teams is about to play a big game and they're in the playoff hunt. But all in all, to me, this is a much better NFL weekend. We'll go and get that started up here. Let me get our fantasy pulled up. Who won last week?
Me by like 1.8 points or maybe less than a full point. I don't remember who was behind me, but someone was right on my heels and didn't quite get to me.
It wasn't me. I was in third.
I forgot to with all the stuff going on, I forgot to create our DFS thing. I'll get that done today.
I have a lineup locked and loaded, so I'll just go into it really quick this week. I am stacking Kirk O'Chains and TJ Hawkinson at quarterback and tight end. I think Dallas is going to do everything they can to keep 18 from getting off. And I haven't seen it a lot yet, but I think Hawkinson's going to have a lot of potential over the middle of the field. Running backs, I went a little bit cheap here. You'll see why in a minute. Antonio Gibson at 5,600 against Houston, who has an atrocious run defense. I really am kind of on the WFT bandwagon. I refuse to call them the condoms or whatever they've changed their name to. They're still the Washington football team to me. But I like what I saw out of Gibson, and he's a better pass catcher than he was last year. Little under the board, Isaac Pacheco at 5,300. The Chargers have struggled against the run, despite what you saw Atlanta do. I forget if it was last week or 2 weeks ago when they played, just completely gave up on the run halfway through the game and started chucking the ball all over the place. Chargers haven't had a good time stopping the run. They just let Jerry Tillery go, who was their first round pick, I think, 2 years ago. So they're really struggling there. Wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk at 6,500. He eats against the Cardinals. His career numbers against Cardinals are kind of disgusting. And I think this is a game where they'll put Murphy on somebody, but I don't think it'll be Ayuk. It'll either be Debo or Kittle. Murphy will just be shadowing them all over the field. So Ayuk could eat. Gabe Davis at 6,300. I was really nervous about this when it looked like they were going to play in the snowpocalypse. But now that they're going to be indoors, Cleveland, I think, is 25th against wide receivers in fantasy. They just have been really bad against the pass this year. And then Traquan Smith is my third wide receiver at 4,100, saving a little bit of money here. Traquan's a guy that always seems to get red zone targets. And I do think the Rams, what they'll do defensively is try and really shut down Olave. And that could leave some open room for him. And then last but not least, defense, I took the Vikings at 2,400. Dallas has been a little turnover prone since Dak came back. He'll put it on the ground. He'll throw one into double coverage. He'll miss a route here or there. That presents potential for some points. And my biggest expenditure of the day is Nick Chubb at Buffalo. Matt Milano's still out. Buffalo has not looked good against the run the last couple of weeks. They've gotten run all over. And if there's one thing I know Cleveland's going to do, it's going to be give the ball to Nick Chubb. So 8,200, that's my biggest spend right there. And that's my lineup of integrity for the week.
All right. Whose turn is it to start off our team build? Anybody know?
Should be Trosh.
Okay.
Is it me?
I have no idea.
Well, I'm going with it now.
This is one thing I don't try to BS y'all with. I never know. I don't know. I don't even know if I've ever gone twice. I don't pay that. All right, let's go. Let's roll. Steven, where are you going?
Pretty easy for me. We got another dome game in Atlanta. Justin Fields visiting there. He is arguably the hottest quarterback in the league right now, and he is still about $1,000 less than the top tier quarterbacks. Josh Allen, 8,500, but I'll take Justin Fields at 7,600. And let me just pull up the price. I'm going to pair him with Darnell Mooney. He is at 5,400. Falcons are one of the worst teams against the wide receiver position, and this just is I don't see that Bears offense slowing down anytime soon.
So Justin Fields and who?
Darnell Mooney.
So I thought you said it. For some reason, it cut out on me for a second. What's his price?
5,400.
54.
54. Okay. All right. Who's going next?
It's me, and then it should be you, and then Bobby, based on last week's order.
Okay.
So I'll go next. By the way, I don't get to take victory laps very often on daily fantasy, but I want my flowers for Cole Kmet last week because I said it and it came true. So I'm going to go back to the tight end well, and I'm going to take someone a little bit further down the list that I don't think we've had a lot of run with this year, and I'm going to grab Foster Moreau at 3,700. Waller's out for the year. I do have some concerns that Pat Surtain and some kind of block scheme is going to kind of take Adams out of that game. And I think whatever Las Vegas does in the air is going to be to some unheralded people. You can make an argument for Matt Collins here as well. But Foster Moreau at 3,700, he's a guy they trust a lot in the red zone as well. So let's see if I can catch lightning in a bottle twice in the tight end front, where I've been pretty good this year.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get us a running back. And, man, I don't want to pay high this time. So I'm going to, you know what? Let's go ahead and roll the dice a little bit. Jonathan Taylor at home against Philadelphia. Philadelphia was gashed on the ground last week, and they're still having some injury issues. They're going to be coming off a short week. I think Jonathan Taylor has a chance to have a big day.
I love this play, and let me tell you why. There were some advanced numbers this week. Philadelphia is 27th in the league in run block win rate when Jordan Davis is off the field. He's out for a while, and they're replacing him with Sue, who was fine 6 years ago, but that was 6 years ago. So I love this.
6 years and 60 pounds ago, he was a good.
Exactly.
Weren't we all? Bobby, where are you going?
I'm going to go with not Jonathan Taylor. Sorry, I was mixing them up. I'm going to go with Brian Robinson here at 5,300, going up against the worst run defense against fantasy running backs this year. I think he's going to get in the end zone this week. I think he'll score some good points. I could see Gibson getting some touches too, but ultimately I think Brian Robinson will get a lot of run on the ground. I think he's going to get in the end zone.
What's his number?
53.
53.
Okay. All right. So that takes it back to Steven.
Let me just get this in so I know what we're working with price-wise.
I can't put
we
the
got 5,000 per
because
player. Yeah.
I can't put the names into search them because that's right where it cuts off on the screen. So I can't go around.
All right. So we got 20,000 left for 4 people. It's 5,000 per player. I'm going to go wide receiver. He should be fairly popular this week. Allen Robinson at 5,600. He's going into the dome game against the Saints. No Cooper Kupp. I think this will be the week he's finally going to see some target volume. And we've been worried about Marshawn Lattimore's shadow in the past, but he has not looked himself this year. And I everyone has been super high. Was super high on Allen Robinson coming into the season. He's talent-wise looked fine on the field, and I think this is the week he really shines and breaks out.
Okay, back to me.
No, it's me, then you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm going to go defense, and I'm going to leave you guys a lot of meat on the bone, give you some reason why I'm doing this. At the bottom of that list is the Colts at $2,200. This is going to come up later. I like the Colts in this spot this week, despite the fact that the Eagles lost Monday night and people are like, oh, they're going to be mad. Jalen Hurts has done horrible against zone this year and much better against man-to-man. Colts play the least man-to-man in the league. They're also 28th against wide receivers. A.J. Brown is banged up, and they don't allow a lot on the ground, running right into Buckner and what is a really underrated defensive line. So give me the Colts at 2,200. I don't know that they're going to get a lot of turnovers, but I don't think they're going to give up a lot of points either.
All right, I'm going to take Kadarius Toney and 5,400, giving Bobby an excellent amount, 7,000 on the flex play. Reason why he's there yet one more week. He's learning this system, and then of course Hardman goes on the IR, and Juju's going to miss the game because of concussion, right? So I think he's got an excellent chance to have a very good day, and I would suggest everybody put them in their lineup. You know, obviously you're not going to bench, don't bench Justin Jefferson over him, but if you have him, this is a great setup.
Mm-hmm.
Where you at with 7,000, Bobby?
Let's see. We're back at the top here. I could go with Debo here, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go with Olave, and I know everybody's kind of worried about him against Ramsey, I suppose, but DeAndre Hopkins didn't have a lot of success against the Rams in the past, but in the past week he did great. He had one of the better games of the season. I know he's only played 4 games this year, but he had a great game, which is not what we're used to seeing against Jalen Ramsey. But they couldn't find a way to stop him, and I don't think they're going to find a way to stop Olave. I think he'll score big.
Okay, and that is your winning numbers there. I will not submit this because I opened up the one that we're in that I just created, so I'm not going to submit this. But that is the lineup to beat, and we will dip out of that real quick and get back into some football talk, some lines talk. I say we start with the NFL, and then we'll go back to college as we get closer to kickoff. National Football League, couple of lines that I want to get everyone's opinion on, and then we'll get our individual stuff going on. The first one is one that Sean's brought up quite a bit this morning. And by the way, how damn good are the Titans and not having to throw the forward pass much, right? Like, and I know a lot of people don't like that, but I love this style of football. And I'm unapologetic about it. I love we're going to mash it up your ass. Just stop us. And they can never stop us. Now, believe it or not, Tannehill actually had a pretty good day of throwing, but everyone's going to remember that interception at the end. But the defense is looking better. The Titans have a chance to make a run here. I don't think that they're going to get a bye because Buffalo and Kansas City, when those are two of your losses, there's a good chance tiebreakers are going to come down to that.
Mm-hmm.
And unless they fall off the cliff, you kind of need one of those teams to fall off the cliff. And when you look at whoever comes out of the AFC East, which by the way, now it could be the Dolphins, isn't that right, Steven? I think there's a better chance that the AFC
or the Jets, for crying out loud.
Nope.
Well, regardless, I think there's a very good chance that they're going to knock each other off and they're not going to get a bye. But I also think it's an equal amount of chance. The Titans almost have to go undefeated down the stretch. That ain't happening, right? So, but congrats to them going into, because they do not play well in Green Bay. They just don't. And they went up there and took care of business. And then Todd Downing took care of business on the plane coming back a little. And next thing you know, the blue lights are on him. What a dumbass, by the way. In the age of Uber, and I can attest to the fact that Middle Tennessee police officers do not play when it comes to drinking and driving.
Well, and another thing,
Uber when I got popped way back in the day.
The Titans, they have actually like a partnership with Lyft or something where they can get free Lyft rides. The coaches and players don't have to pay for it.
I don't know his personal life, but that tells me that son of a gun was hooking up.
He pulled a Steve Kahn.
I will say two things about Thursday night, and I put this on Facebook, which means Bobby didn't see it because I don't even know how Bobby communicates. Bobby communicates on Bumble Talk or whatever his Jack's doing now. Tannehill made 5 to 6 throws in that game that were so perfect I actually like leapt off the couch, like just in the perfect spot. Like there were 2 or 3 plays where Jair Alexander or somebody was like reaching for the ball, and it was in a place where only his receiver was going to catch it. And I haven't seen that a ton this year. That was the best game 17 has played this year, and by a country mile. It isn't even close. And Titans have a hard decision on him next year because they can save a lot of money by walking away from him, but I don't think there's any reason for them to do so because I haven't seen it from Willis yet. Willis is 2 years away from being 2 years away. He's the Bruno Caboclo of the NFL. Like he's not ready, and you can't. This team can still win, and they're not going to.
I don't know if they're going to go out there and break the bank because Tannehill's going to look for some money.
Yeah, but he's under contract next year. Like they can save most of it by cutting him, but there's no reason to do so.
They won't cut him. But I think
Jameis is available.
Oh God, stop it with that.
Wouldn't that be funny? His first career touchdown pass was to a Titan player, and he could be back. Could be with the Titans.
Stop it! Stop it!
Yeah, I don't see them moving on from Tannehill. I don't see that happen. But I think how the playoffs play out, I think that'll be the biggest factor into the decision on what they do in the future with him.
The only way that happens is if someone gets out there on the market that's not expected.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some names out there in this offseason. It's going to be weird. Like Carr's going to be out there. I think Rodgers is going to be out there. I think they're going to divorce. I definitely think Daniel Jones.
Rodgers?
If the Giants don't tag Daniel Jones, he's going to be walking the street. I'm telling you, if this Green Bay season goes south and it looks like it's headed south, they're going to have to decide between the coaching staff and organization and Rodgers. And I don't know what I would do.
I don't think Rodgers is going to be walking out of Green Bay. He just signed a 3-year deal.
I know, but it's people leave places. I don't know.
Tannehill, most likely they'll bring back. I'm looking at the numbers right now. It's a base salary of 27, a cap hit of 36. Oof. That's the kicker. Dead cap would be 18. So if they cut him, they'd still be liable for 18 on the cap.
So you only save $9 million by cutting him, right? It's the cap number minus the dead cap.
No, 18. The dead cap is 18.8. The cap number is 36.6.
Okay.
So right at 18 million. But
a lot of money.
Token, you're not getting a quarterback for 17 or 18 million nowadays.
At his quality. Not at his quality. Yeah. Way.
I mean, the only way that happens is if you're convinced you're going to get Derek Carr to come in on a Bobo contract that wants to try to prove himself, and I just wouldn't take that damn risk.
I don't see it.
Well, Derek Carr is not very good, frankly.
He's not, but neither was Ryan Tannehill until he got Derrick Henry in the backfield.
The name we haven't mentioned yet is what the Ravens do with Lamar. Now, I think they're going to tag him. I don't think there's any way they let him get out of Baltimore.
A lot less than all these guys. Give me a few months to get in shape and just learn how to hand the ball off Derrick Henry.
I'll tell you what, an offense with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry would be lethal. I mean, that would just be
that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare.
You could just cut him and they just go to Wildcat all the time. Why not? Or the other night he did the jump Tebow pass. What the hell?
The two franchises who will be mentioned prominently if he does hit the market will be the Titans and Colts because of the relative geography to Louisville where he played. People will just draw those lines. I'm not saying they make sense, but they'll draw.
I just don't think they could afford him.
No, if he hits the open market and the Ravens don't tag him, he's getting what Wilson got. More. Wilson got $40 million.
More likely to draft Cunningham and see which one between him and Willis can beat each other out. Then so they might get a Louisville quarterback, but he might be a little skinnier than Lamar Jackson.
Or they could draft overrated.
Richardson looks cold this morning, sir. They're showing him on the sidelines warming up. He's got hoodies and everything on.
Overrated tape nerd quarterback, darling Will Levis. They could always draft him too. That dude sucks.
We were
Tell you right
talking
now,
about him earlier.
somebody's going to grab him in the top 10, and that dude sucks.
We were just talking about him.
Yep.
I don't get it.
It's
a project, but he's not a guy you draft as high as they're talking about.
Every PFF mock draft I've seen in the last 3 weeks has him going in like the top 3. It's ridiculous. I don't see it. I don't know what they're seeing.
PFF, you mean the website that had the Lions as the 5th ranked offense in the NFL through 4 weeks
PFF
because of how well
sucks.
we ran the ball before we went to New England and couldn't move a thimble? Give me a break. PFF.
I can't fathom how people.
If I'm the Titans, I would rather draft Jordan Travis, knowing that he can basically run the option, the RPO, right?
Yep.
I am not drafting Levis.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you guys are really talking about those options, Gardner Minshew is an unrestricted free agent next year.
Yeah, baby, let's go. Let's go.
Minshew mania.
I really think he can bring a different dimension to that offense. Tannehill's good, but he lacks that it factor. And Minshew has that it factor.
No.
I'll be curious.
He may have an
I'll be curious to see as Tannehill gets healthier if they break out more, because he hasn't run much this year. And he's been hurt. I know he's had an ankle injury. He had a knee thing last year, and obviously he lost almost 2 whole seasons to a knee injury, earlier in his career. That's how he ended up in Nashville. But he can run. He can do things, in the RPO game if he's healthy. I've
always wondered why there wasn't a bigger part of his game.
The shine came off of him. He started having to actually rely on what little arm strength he has. He's no good. The it factor that Tannehill has is that he has arm strength and some accuracy. Minshew has a mustache, and that's it.
That ball Tannehill zipped into the end zone to Hooper that they ended up calling a touchdown. I mean, that's a one-of-one throw. That's a throw that like beautiful. 5 guys in the league can make. That's a Josh Allen throw.
And look, I think Minshew can make a very good living for the next several years as a backup, but if he's in your starting lineup,
best job in the world,
there's a problem. How cheap of a sign could you get Baker Mayfield?
Oh God.
Or Sam Darnold?
He would have to pay the Titans to be on their team.
Baker's done, man. He can't.
Once
Baker
again,
will be in the XFL.
How good does he have to be if he's got Derrick Henry in the backfield? The biggest problem the Titans have of ever attracting a free agent quarterback, who the hell is he throwing to?
That's true.
Their receiving core is god awful.
Boy, if only they had a receiver they could have paid this offseason. If only.
Stop it. I'm tired of hearing that. Stop it.
Yeah, but you do that and then you handcuff yourself everywhere else.
And then you do that.
I don't know how the Miami Dolphins get around salary cap.
Make it work, man.
Evidently, they don't have one down there. I don't know if Ron DeSantis has just gotten rid of the salary cap here because I don't know how the hell you have Waddle and Hill and Tua and all these guys and making trades for Chubb, but evidently there's no salary cap in Miami, but the rest of the National Football League has to adhere to that. And I get why they traded him. And I do think Burks is going to be good, but he's a long way off. The problem is they need Burks and somebody, and it can't constantly be Julio Jones, Bobby Trees. No, they got to get another receiver. And I think they're going to have to build through the draft. That's what they need with the number one, with their first round pick is a receiver.
You can get Elijah Moore from the Jets right now for a bucket of Gatorade. So
I wouldn't mind
there's
it.
There's a name.
I wouldn't mind it.
That dude was a stud. That dude was a stud at Ole Miss, and the Jets are wasting it.
Make a trade for a receiver and use that first round pick on a tackle. That's what I'd use it on.
Loaded. The Jets at receiver.
Loaded.
I mean, they still got Corey Davis.
It doesn't matter.
And Garrett Wilson's starting to become a star.
Yep.
If he gets a quarterback, look out. Maybe we make a trade. Maybe we trade Tannehill for Zach Wilson and let's go.
Oh God.
Let him run around.
Please don't.
I'm good on.
He's a much paler version of Kyler Murray. He just runs around.
A lot worse.
Pretty sure he doesn't read the playbook. Just chucks it. Then goes, come on, defense, let's go. Let's come on now.
Zach Wilson's out of there soon. Yeah, I saw Jets fans defend what's his name, Sam Darnold for years. They have already turned on Zach Wilson. Like they already realized that this guy sucks.
Until he beats the Patriots tomorrow, then they're going to be all about it.
I will say this: you're right, Magee, because looking at next year's wide receiver free agent class, this is some rough net. I mean, this is like looking for a day.
Some dumbass is gonna sign Julio Jones no matter what.
It's like looking for a date at the Waffle House in Jacksonville at 12 a.m. I mean, this is rough stuff, buddy. Hey, nobody.
But it's easy pickings, baby. Let's go.
It's easy pickings. Julio Jones, Jacoby Myers, and Juju Smith-Schuster.
Jacoby's
at
good.
the top of the free agent wide receiver class. It's like, no, thank you.
Not bad.
And Jacoby Myers will be a free agent because Bill Belichick will not pay him.
He has never paid a wide receiver ever.
Here's an interesting stat. How about the Jets are 4-0, undefeated on the road this year? 2-3.
Well, they haven't
again in a minute.
And
I don't think they've beaten the Patriots in New England in a long time, though.
No.
Wrong.
It's like 1993, something like it was something ridiculous.
In the regular season, remember they got him in Foxborough one of Tom's years. The Bart Scott team got him in New England. That game was in Foxborough, but that wasn't a regular season game. I think you're right on the regular.
I think it has been like 20 years. It's something ridiculous. They were talking about it on a CBS yesterday morning. I was like, what? Bills Browns in Detroit. Bills are still an 8-point favorite. So it's one of the rare times where you don't get a home game, you get your home game taken away from you, and you actually become, to me, a much better favorite to win because you're going to be in a dome with this passing attack of the Bills against that terrible Browns defense.
Yeah. I'm looking at the over-under for that game. It's 49.5. I mean, I think the Bills can put up 40 by themselves.
That should be the halftime line. 40 for the Bills.
That's just a joke of an over-under.
It seems too good to be true. I'd already grabbed them on a teaser. They're the tail end of a teaser that. Oh, I'm sorry. No, they're it's a true teaser with them and the Jets. So I took tip. I've got the Jets twice on two teasers. Didn't realize it till yesterday morning. What the hell? So I'm all gangrene tomorrow.
I'm sorry.
I didn't realize I had two of them. I mean, it's teasers, so you feel pretty good about it. How about the tail end of the teaser? All I need to finish it off is Minnesota plus 10 at home against the Cowboys.
No,
Minnesota's
good at making a game close. So
how the hell is Minnesota an underdog at home when they're 8-1?
Oh man,
a lot of public money on the Cowboys. It's moved just a half a point in the last day.
It's still sitting at +1 for me.
Yeah, it's 1.5 on ESPN.
Okay. Yeah, it's 1.5 on BetMGM too. So weird.
It is. You don't see a team who's 8-1 at home being an underdog.
And people are just on the train that they are just a fraud of a 8-1 team.
It's got something to do with Vegas is trying to trick us.
Yep.
When it seems
it's a trap.
Yeah, when it seems too good, it is.
And
hell, more of a chance of the Cowboys having a look ahead this week because they've got to play a big divisional game against the Giants on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Giants Lions over under. I don't get. It's 45. It feels high because the Giants aren't a high scoring team and they don't give up a lot of points. So that's the one where I'm pretty confident that's.
Well, I think that comes down to the fact that the Lions defense stinks, but their offense can put up points and they just got. But I'm with you as far as, man, I don't know if I'm taking that because the Giants, they're either the slowest or the second slowest team in the National Football League to snap. So they draw that line down.
The Lions are, I think, 15th or 16th in the league in pressure rate. So they get in the pocket a lot. They've just had a bit of a more difficult time kind of covering in the back end and actually bringing quarterbacks down. And Jones hasn't shown the propensity to run all year. I don't know if he's hurt or Dayball just doesn't want him fumbling the ball while he's running wide open like he's done 8 times in his career. But I don't know. There are just a lot of odd vibes for me around that game. It's really weird. I think the Giants are the better team, but that over-under is – I'm staring at it like it's – like you just said, like somebody's trying to, dare me to come into a room full of apples and I can see the bear traps. It's just really off-putting.
Who's off-putting? I'm not off-putting. I've been on putting.
Well, as we were speaking, the Browns and Bills over-under went up to 50.5, up by a full point.
They were listening.
They're listening in, yeah.
All right, so let's go around. Give me one NFL game that you're really liking the line on. We'll start with you, Bobby.
Is it anything like over under anything at all?
Yeah.
All right, I was gonna mention this one, but Sean, you already kind of touched on it, so I'll go in a different direction here. I was gonna say Lions Giants under actually, but I'm gonna say Saints Rams over. It's at 39. I think it's gonna go over. I know these offenses aren't anything to be too crazy about, but something gives me a feeling that it's gonna be, like a 27-21 type of game. I don't know. I think it goes over by some points, by a decent amount of points.
What about you, Sean?
I'm going to go back to the well on Eagles Colts. Phillies right now 6.5 point favorite in Indianapolis. I really like the Colts to cover. I'm not as crazy about them winning this game. I don't think we're going to have a second round of any given Saturday and people watching endless videos of Jim Irsay in his suit that looks like it was washed in olive oil with his hair, making speeches in the locker room. But I do like the Colts to cover in this spot. And I do like the under in that game as well. I'm going to sneak in the no way parlay, by the way. Three NFL games this week. Bears plus 135 in Atlanta. I don't think Atlanta is a better team than Chicago is. And I think losing to Detroit in really weird circumstances. If you watch the game, the Lions got a really favorable defensive call that helped them score the touchdown that put them up, and Fields threw a pick six that he won't make that same mistake twice. So I think Chicago's better than they are. I'm adding Cleveland plus 275 to that. These are all money lines to win against the Bills. My only thought process here is I think if Allen turns the ball over once or twice and Cleveland runs the ball as well as I think they do, Buffalo could be in a tough spot. I don't love this, but I'm throwing it in there because that's why it's called the no way parlay. And then last but not least, I'm throwing the Vikings in. They're only plus 100 when I got it. I'm with whoever said it. I don't get what Vegas is peddling here. I think Minnesota is better than Dallas. I get it. I think there's a lot of haters on the Vikings and thinking what happens if you just make Kirk Cousins beat you, because we've all seen that plenty of times. He is the proto Tannehill in that sense, that he'll let you down in big moments. But I'm not fooled. I think Minnesota's better. So you put all those together, that's plus 1662, which means $5 nets you a nice little payout of about $105. And that is on my sports book of choice, which is BetMGM. So that's a no way parlay for this week.
Circling back to a parlay that I still have alive. I took South Florida last night in the point. They were getting 14.5 and they only lost by 8. And then Sean, you'll like this because I want a Kooky Dukes parlay like you. Put $5 or $6 on I can't remember the amount to win 275. Middle Tennessee State, Kansas, and Oklahoma State all to win on the money line.
Mm.
And I think there's a very good chance Middle Tennessee State and Kansas get their W's because they're at home and they're the 3:30 kickoffs. Oklahoma State is a night game. So if I can get the first part of that parlay going, then I can turn around and bet against myself tonight.
Mm. What's worse than the Kooky Dukes parlay? Because I've got a college football one that makes that look like Thanksgiving dinner.
What's that?
These are all money lines, and this is I'm just donating $5, but this was just fun. These are all money line wins, but Maryland, Kentucky, and Oregon is plus 43,000. I don't know why I wanted to do it. It made me laugh at like 8 a.m. this morning. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, people buy Powerball.
Pay out.
$2,700 on a $5 bet.
I like making those crazy parlays, like plus 40,000 parlays too. You know what I'll do every week? I'll come up with like a first touchdown parlay. So, and it hit once last year.
The funny thing is, and I hit on this a couple weeks ago with the NFL, and Magee gave me some nice props for this in our private chat. Was if you stagger the games, right, and like the first one hits, and then the second one, the team that's the dog is up. Most of these books, at least in the states where the books are legal, they offer you a payout. And I did that a few weeks ago on the NFL. It was like I sent Trost a message. I'm like, should I cash it out or ride it? And I think it was the Cowboys to beat the Eagles was the Sunday night game, was the third leg of it. And I mean, they basically paid me 10-1 on the off chance that the whole thing would hit because it was 30-1. And that's kind of where you have to strategize a little bit with the sports books. So there's a way to take advantage of them if you stagger the games based on when they're played.
All right, let's go over to college football. Did everyone give a NFL one? Did you do one, Steven?
No, but one game we didn't talk about too much. Sorry, no, trying to find it again, the line. Panthers and Ravens, the over-under is only 41.5 there. I mean, I kind of feel it's the same situation as the Bills game where the Ravens can put up at least 30 on their own, and we've seen the Panthers fall into a couple touchdowns. I mean, they have some talent on that offense with DJ Moore, Dante Foreman, even Chuba's looked okay. 41.5 just seems too low.
They've gotten smoked in all four of their losses on the road. It would be my only worry there is that ends up like 28-3. But I'm with you. That does seem like a low over-under.
They've also had a few extra days to prepare as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to lean on their running game, but Baker is coming in, and that means interceptions.
Teams' defense has not been good this year. I mean, I know they had some injuries. Like, didn't they get most of those injured players back though by now?
What's the odds on a pick six? Like, that's what I'd want to.
3-1.
I can't give credit to who said it, but I heard it this week. Teams coming off a bye after playing on a Thursday the week before the bye cover at like a 65 to 70% rate. So it's worth mentioning. I don't know that Carolina is the ideal candidate for that hypothesis, but put it in your bag.
Going a college game that you got your eye on, Steven?
No, that TCU Baylor right away. I mean, it's going to be a big game. It's a conference game. TCU they're one of those teams that you just every week we've been kind of seeming like this could be the week they lose, and they just never do. I mean, if anything, this game's going to be high scoring. There's going to be it's going to be a fun game to watch. I think TCU.
I'm not getting a money line on this one, but man, I wish there was a money line on UMass because they're playing Texas A&M.
Yeah.
I almost took UMass as my stupid underdog.
I'd catapult you right back into it.
A&M sucks, man. I'm sorry, but they're
yeah.
I finally hit one last week. I was so happy. I hit UConn.
I saw that.
I haven't hit one all year.
Let's go ahead and do
another one.
Underdogs real quick. Doug took Oklahoma State +7. I took Maryland +27 because I'm trying to get back in it, but there's no chance. And Tones took Hawaii +11. So those are the games that have been taken.
Okay.
So the next person up on the bid for the Price is Right would be, let's see, it's a Steven. Where are you going at this week, sir?
I really need a Hail Mary, but I've already accepted I'm out of it. I'm going to go Oklahoma State +8. Like Oklahoma just has not looked good.
That game's already been taken.
Oh, I didn't hear that one. My bad. Let me get UConn over Army then. They are +10.5.
Okay.
Sorry, Sean.
You got mine too.
You no good, dirty bearded David Koresh cult leader looking rat.
Next up on the bid is Sean. Sean, who are you taking on the stupid underdog?
I didn't want to have to take my backup. That was my favorite one. Okay. I am going to go a little buck wild here. I'm going to take Rutgers at home as a 19-point dog hosting Penn State. I do not love Penn State on the road. It's not a far drive to Piscataway from Happy Valley. But Schiano does what Schiano does. He plays very ugly, very unwatchable football. And as I've said on this show, literally since the season started, and I think going back several years, Sean Clifford sucks. He's been at that school for 7 years. He was getting toweled off by Sandusky. They're going to come up short tonight. There you go. Rutgers.
And that comes to you, Bobby, with a commanding 14-point lead after your win with Washington last week. What you got?
Yep. All right. Did you say Texas or Kansas was taken or no?
No, they were not.
I'll take Kansas +9 then. They're 7-2-1 against the spread this season. Have the same record as Texas. They're playing at home. I trust their quarterback a bit more. Give me Kansas +9.
If I was closer, I would have definitely taken it, but there was just no point in it. I was like,
yeah.
Because I think Texas is gonna play a bad game today. I think it was a late game on Saturday night. It was a physical game. They've got to be battered and bruised, and now they're going on the road on a really strange kickoff time, 2:00. They're just, I think they're due for, if they do get the W, I think they'll barely eke it out.
Ewers looked horrible last week too. Ewers looked awful last week.
Yeah. They are always over. They are very Notre Dame Dallas Cowboy like in the fact that they're always over hyped,
inflated. Overhyped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, let's go and do the locks. Tones took Arizona Cardinals +8, and let's see who's got the lowest of the low. Sean, where are you going on your lock for the week?
I am going to take, as my lock, TCU -2. I am not a believer in the Baylor ability this year. I'm a big believer in Dave Aranda. I think Dave Aranda is an excellent coach. And coming out of the whole Art Briles fiasco and everything that's happened there the last decade, he's done great things with that program. But this isn't the spot. I think Duggan's going to run all over them and basically book their ticket. I think their ticket's pretty much already booked, but to the Big 12 championship game.
Okay. Next up would be Trosh. Which, by the way, you've gotten hot here recently. You're now 5-3-1 on the year. What is your lock of the week?
I'm gonna see that. I feel like I went the other side of this game a couple weeks ago, but New England -3.5 over the Jets. I mean, the Jets cannot win in New England. Yes, they did beat Buffalo last week, but to go and win both back-to-back games, Buffalo and New England, especially in New England. No, Patriots are going to beat the brakes off of them. 15 points at least.
There's one thing I trust. It's Belichick at home to put a rookie quarterback in the torture chamber, or a young quarterback in the torture chamber. So that's not bad.
The other thing I'm more confident in is that Zach Wilson sucks.
All right, Bobby, what is your lock of the week?
Trosh mentioned it earlier. Bills or Browns over. I think that's going to hit, given that they're playing in a dome, and the Browns defense sucks. Give me Browns Bills over 50.5 total points.
Okay, and for my lock of the week, I am going to go. I've been talking about it enough. I might as well take it. Give me Kansas plus the 9. Is it 9 still? Oh, I don't have it on the.
I think it's I believe it's +9. That's when it's on ESPN. It's +9.
+9. Okay, Kansas +9. They're at home against Texas, and I just think they have a good chance of pulling this off. I think they got a good chance of winning the damn thing. By the way, the over under at 63.5, I think that's really high. 39 degrees out. I could see these offenses taking a while to really start getting warmed up. So, oh man, Oklahoma State, it's 67 is the over. What about USC, UCLA? I saw this earlier. I want no part of this. I don't like the line. 76.5 is the over. Everything has to go perfect for that to hit.
Yeah, that's way too high for me. If there's a line like, minus 20 or over more points with like a team spread, or if there's a line where it's like 70 or more points, it's just too ridiculous to bet on it at that point. It feels like,
I forget what game it was last week, but there was another one like that. I think it was one of the Pac-12 games, like 79.5 over under. I checked in the third quarter and it was 14-10.
If you take the over in that, you can't watch the game, because every time they score, you're trying to do the math on the damn on the clock. And if it takes a while for him to get going, that's when you really start freaking out. You're like, oh.
No, that kind of line is you tease that under big time. So you put it like under at like 83 or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're screaming at the TV if there's one punt, Like you have to get really things to get rolling, because typically the first half is much higher scoring than the second half, unless it goes to overtime, because investments and whatnot. So you have to make sure that they hit the ground running. Out at the same token, those two defenses are terrible. I would never take the under in that game because it's just too damn high. I mean, the defenses just give it way too many points. Colorado, by the way, 1-9, 30.5 point dogs to the Huskies.
Nope.
I almost took them just as a Hail Mary, just because.
I mean, one thing you could say would be Washington could be coming out flat after beating Oregon. But can we talk how stupid the damn coach was for Oregon? Did y'all watch the tail end of that game?
Yes.
The game is tied at 34. I had it written down here because I wanted to like less than 2 minutes left, and he goes for it on 4th and 1 on his own 30.
Oh, that's stupid.
Doesn't get it. And of course, all they're doing is putting up the damn next gen stats on there.
Analytics.
Like what? You never look at the other side of it. What the hell happens if you don't get it? They didn't get it, and Washington kicks a field goal to beat you.
Yep. Those are the things you do as a first-time head coach, which Dan Lanning is.
2 or 3 times I saw this unfold this past week, and each time I'm like, they always want to tell you what your chances are of getting it, but they never bring up the fact, by the way, it's not 100% chance, right? And it's damn shot in the high 90s. So
you mentioned it yourself. You said, if you get it, what do you get? Another set of downs. If you don't get it, they get they get guaranteed points on the board at that point of the field.
I thought the Titans were dumb as hell. It ended up working out for them because they got a quick 3 and out from the Packers, but I thought they were dumb as hell with late in the second quarter, up 7-6. They're right there on the goal line. They went for it on 4th down, didn't get it. And all I'm thinking is, man, they're having a hard time moving the ball and scoring. Get yourself that 4-point cushion going into the half.
Well,
if you're going to play old school football, right, and you're going to play ball control, field position football, then you can't go for it on every damn 4th down.
Well, and what confused me the most about that 4th down attempt was it was the same, because they went from 4th down and 1, I think, earlier that drive too, and they ran the same play the second time around. I'm like, what are you thinking? So I guess Todd Downing was drinking early. Maybe it was
probably. I mean, the whole thing just doesn't make sense. But when it's all said and done, it's Vrabel making that decision, right?
That's fair, yeah.
Because he has to go, hey, we're going for it. Get ready for a play.
That's true.
And I know they're looking at their statistics and saying, hey, if you get a chance, you do. But man, sometimes you have to read the scoreboard and go, all right, we've got a power football team. We've got a 1-point lead. We're on the road. Let's get a 4-point lead. And let's make them have to score a touchdown to beat us. Just incredibly stupid. It worked out and won the game, but just because you win the game doesn't means you made the right call. Everyone wants to laugh at the old school coaches and what they did. And look, I'm all for it. If you're on the opponent's 41-yard line, it's 4th and short, go for it. Because what are you really gaining? Around 20 yards? But when you're talking about taking points off the board, stupid. Time for walk-offs. Bobby, what is your walk-off for the day?
My walk-off is that we got a solid weekend of football ahead of us, so enjoy that and get prepared for rivalry weekend next weekend in college football. It should be an incredible weekend, and enjoy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes, sir. We'll see everyone next Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Sean, what is your walk-off?
My walk-off is everybody enjoy the football this weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy all the great times with friends and family. One more game I'm going to give you really quick. This wasn't my underdog because the line wasn't big enough. Arizona State getting 7.5 at home against Oregon State at 1:15. That is an odd time for a Pac-12 game. Arizona State has been much better at home. Remember, they beat Washington at home. And, Oregon State in the top 25. Beavers maybe been, chopping a little bit too much wood the last couple of days, visiting, establishments around Tempe, spending some time with some hostitutes in the Phoenix area. Might walk into a tough spot here. So everybody enjoy the football this weekend.
Why the hell are they playing at 11:15 local time?
I got no idea. And that's part of the reason why I think it could get wacky. Emory Jones is definitely great value Anthony Richardson in small doses. So he could absolutely pull an upset.
Steven, what's your walk-off?
I was talking about earlier, TCU. I think they win today. They've only got one more game against Iowa State in championship game. I think we could see TCU in the college playoff this year. It's gonna be hard to keep them out.
I don't know how you keep them out. If they win out, I think they're definitely in. My walk-off for the day is we're excited about the new show starting next Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be on WQEE, the Key 99.1 FM, just outside of Atlanta. It is in the Atlanta, Georgia listening area. New show is called Braves Country with the Armchair Quarterbacks. Basically trying to get the Georgia fans in the area to tune in, but we are going to be talking a lot of football like we always do. It will be on our sister station YouTube channel of Braves Country. We'll probably do some pop-ups still on Armchair Quarterbacks South YouTube channel, so we're going to keep that around. And we're going to do some experimenting with Facebook Lives and whatnot, but you'll always be able to catch it on WQEE. We'll get their website up on day one. Looking forward to that show, 3 to 5 p.m. It's going to lead into Florida State, Florida next Friday. And then, of course, all the big games next weekend. Have a great weekend, y'all. Good college football slate, decent college football slate. And I think we get at least one, if not two, big upsets today. Great job, guys. And congratulations on your house, Stephen.
Thank you. Good luck, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. The Armchair Quarterbacks bring you Braves Country Baseball every Tuesday and Friday night, play-by-play with Mac Magee. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette.